Grace and peace, everybody. We back up in the building. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. You know what we're about to do. First of all, we got to fix these lights, Jason. All right, that looks pretty cool. All right, let me take this hood off. Stop acting crazy. Anyway, grace and peace, everybody. Hopefully you had a beautiful, wonderful, restful Tuesday. What day is today? Today's Tuesday. Shout out to Tuesday for sure. We are getting ourselves in the studio, in the booth, getting warmed up, getting loose, getting ready to have a great watch party. If you're new to the channel, please make sure you hit that like button. Drop your like number down in the chat. Let us know what number you came in at for sure. All right, so as usual, well, now has become her modus operandi. Your girl has not announced when her show is. So I have zero clue. I got some backups to some backups to some backups planned. And actually, I want to go look at a friend of the channel. I have not talked about him in a long time, but he is a great content creator. He had an excellent take on Tim Pool and what's been going on with that, as well as Erica Kerr, and of course, as well as Candace. So I kind of want to pull him in real quick. Just see something very quickly. 1 second. Got it. Thank you so much. Somebody sent me something. I appreciate them for sure. Okay, I'm trying my very best. I'm trying my very best to get my arms around all these doggone poems you all have sent me about the about the red plane, blue crane, whatever. Yo, it's crazy work. Am I subscribed to Candace's channel? Why would I need to be? No. No. No, I don't feel. Is it necessary? Is there like a requirement to do that? Let me know for real. Tell your boy, fill me in. All right, let's get at it. Let's get active. All right, so Professor Nez, great content creator. He's definitely a friend of the channel, and he did a review of Tim Pool's just like complete and utter decimation of Candace. And Nez is a great guy. I think he has a fantastic heart. We've done projects before in the past. So I want to bring this in. And that's, of course, Professor Nez right there. Growing that beard, looking real slick there, my friend. Looking good. I want to let y'all hear what he had to say. And, of course, you may have heard Tim. You may not. But either way, if you could, green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Let's go.
Candace Owens is a evil scumbag. She is a degenerate.
Oh.
She is burning everything down, and she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you told me? She has.
I'm going to play you that full clip right there of Tim Pool. If you don't know who Tim Pool is, he is the host of Tim Pool IRL. It's one of the most prominent and most popular commentary podcasts out there. He goes nuclear bomb on Candace Owens, who has, for the last 2-3 months, been deriving conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory. I'm not saying that she's right or wrong, to be honest with you. I've been really focusing on a lot of the stuff that is happening in the news with Trump and his agenda and the people who are trying to stop his agenda and the lying hypocrites. I've been trying to stay out of it, but this is just too important to share because it hits home with me on a personal level. I'm going to play for you the entire clip of him going berserk on Candace Owens. Also, Erica Kirk did an interview recently, an exclusive interview, and she talks about what Charlie taught her to avoid this kind of drama, as well as Candace Owens just dropped a major bombshell today on her Instagram, literally moments ago, and she says she has the final piece of the puzzle. I'm going to tell you what that all entails too. Stick around for that. But first, I think it's really important to get some context here on Tim's behavior before I share with you this absolute meltdown. Perhaps you didn't know this, but this is something, and this is what I mean by it's personal with me as somebody who's a father, a parent, and a business owner. This is my media company I run with my wife. We're the best researchers on the planet, bringing you the truth every single day. And it's kind of like a mom and pop media company, but I take it very, very.
I do want to say that Professor Nez does do some really top tier research. If you don't follow him, I would suggest you check him out for sure. If the mods could drop Professor Nez's link in the chat, he does some great tier work. I mean, he's not a journalist or anything of that nature, but he respects it and respects his audience to the point that he makes sure, to some degree, shape, or form, he gives them the best information possible. So sure, information might change next week or next month, but on today, as much as he can, he's going to give you the best information. I want to just give him his flowers because he does outstanding work on that for sure. Let's go.
Seriously, as you guys know, maybe you didn't hear that this happened at his studio. So Tim posted this a few days ago, saying, last night a vehicle approached our property and opened fire. No one was hurt. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying the report to appropriate law enforcement. This is the price we pay for speaking out against evil. Now, I don't know about you, but if you've ever had your home or your business or anything like a, firearm pointed at you, shots fired at you, it's going to have a severe impact on your psychological state. It's going to have a severe impact on your perspective in life. It is going to remind you of your mortality faster than anything. I was about to say faster than a speeding bullet, no pun intended, but it literally will. And so I want to also share this clip right here. This impacted him so much that Tim Pool, again, this is one of the most popular podcasts out there. It's a multi-million-dollar business. This is him right here before the Candace Owens meltdown saying that his last show could be happening at the end of this month. Watch.
So where does it leave us? We have 2 weeks left in the year before we go on our Christmas hiatus. I'm not a big fan of any kind of hiatus. I would prefer just to work. But it is taxing. It is grueling, of course. And there's a lot of infrastructure here that requires me to work all day, every day, Monday to Friday, with some extra work on the weekends, usually meetings. And I'm probably going to have a stroke. My health's actually pretty good. My blood pressure is great. My resting heart rate is actually around 45. I exercise quite a bit. Haven't been able to skate in the past month or two, the holidays, and But we have to have these conversations, and I have been, with the people, our contractors, people we work with, our vendors, partners. And one thing is clear. The violence will get worse. It is going to escalate. We cannot keep going as status quo. Something has to change. It may be that, as we described after the assassination of Charlie Kirk and the threat to come and shoot up our studio and our workplace, we asked, at what point do we say we can't do this anymore? The cost of running Timcast IRL Studio and the projects around it exceeds the amount of money it brings in. That's just that breaking point, isn't it, for any business? If you need $100 to, run your restaurant, but you're only bringing 90, you go out of business. The issue? The cost isn't cameras or lights. The cost is security because of the escalation. It's an artificial cost to doing business that we can't balance. We can't forego security, but we can't sustain it either. So I've had some conversations with our partners, been talking with Rumble. There may be a solution, and it's going to be rapid change very quickly. We're going to have some emergency meetings. We've already had emergency meetings for obvious reasons. And there is a possibility that the 19th is the last episode of Timcast IRL. We are doing everything we can to make sure that's not going to be the case. It's no secret that I've been frustrated and disillusioned with a lot of people in politics, but that's no reason to walk away from doing our nightly show with a tremendous success. But the cost is not just money anymore. The cost is the safety of my family, myself. And there are many ideas were floating around.
Yeah, so that really puts things in perspective. It's hard to believe, my fellow Americans. I mean, this is happening all over, not just in America, but all over the world. In the year of our Lord 2025, that your life, you may have to pay the price of your life in order to exercise your civil liberties and your constitutional right to free expression and free speech. This is the most asinine, dangerous, chaotic political landscape we've ever seen. I've ever seen in my life. If you've seen anything close to it, maybe the 60s, what happened with the counterculture and JFK and all the assassinations, Martin Luther King, Robert F. Kennedy, et cetera, et cetera. That might come close, if not be even surpass it. Not that we're comparing. But I think about this every single day. And is it worth my family? Is it worth my kids? Is it worth, me trying to help my country in this manner with my media company? At what cost? So I relate to that. I relate to what Tim Pool is saying there. And that news hit me extremely, extremely hard. And I hope he gets it figured out. But having to worry about your life, having to worry about these dangerous, insidious ghouls, what I call, I'm just going to say it because I know who it is, the most dangerous terrorist organization the earth has ever known, the Democrats, who have conducted PSYOP after PSYOP, propaganda after propaganda, indirectly fomented, architected violence, chaos, and mayhem that has led to the death of our great friend Charlie Kirk, almost to the death of our president, to Sarah Beckstrom, that poor National Guardsman in D.C. And I think the eeriest words that Tim said there was, it's only going to get worse. Until we put a stop to these heathens, it's only going to get worse. I hope he's wrong. But there's a part of me that agrees with him vehemently, 1 billion %. So maybe just with this context, maybe this will give you a clue as to his outburst against Candace Owens. Now, you might be thinking, Nez, are you hating?
Okay, so before he jumps in, I want to talk about this. I don't know all the ins and outs of what Tim is experiencing as it relates, big screen, as it relates to threats on his life and on his family. I'm not privy to that. All I'm saying is I don't think it's the best practice to start tucking tail and leaving when our enemies and those philosophical and ideological enemies start going in a different, in an extreme direction. I think that's what they want. And how are we going to show another generation a counter to this extreme behavior if we all tuck tail? Now, again, I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know what he's putting into security and all that kind of stuff like that. I've heard some things and I don't know. So I'm not going to speak intelligently on those. So I just don't know if leaving, and I'm hoping he's not. I'm hoping this is just I need to get my mind together type of situation, and he'll come back. Because I do think that he's needed, he's necessary, and such of that. But let's go back to Nez and see what Nez got to say. Shout out to the best live chat on the internet. Thank y'all, everybody who's jumped in. I appreciate y'all. Let's go.
On Candace Owens. I'm not hating on Candace Owens. I think Candace Owens is extremely intelligent, extremely smart. I'm not really for or against Candace Owens, but I'll tell you what I'm against. I'm against division. I'm against what I see happening across the political landscape. This is exactly what they wanted. When I say they, I mean the evil Democrats. This is what they want. They want us to fight amongst each other. They want us to pose the question, whose side are you on? Tucker's, Fuentes, Candace, Marjorie, Trump. They want that. There's only one side I'm on. If you don't know that by now, you might be new here. But you original Nez Nation viewers who've been with me from the beginning, you know this. There's only one side I'm on. That's America. The whole purpose of this channel, to make common sense go viral, to fight the propagandist media, which is a 96% negative publicity on our America First administration and Trump. I'm fighting that so our grandkids' grandchildren's grandkids can wake up in America that makes sense, that follows the Constitution, that's based on a meritocracy. Best person for the job, that's America. The best person deserves and earns the success through hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. That's America. And so that's where I stand. I have to give you warning, too. I bleeped out some of the expletives, and Tim uses a lot, but I'm just going to give you a warning. This is kind of graphic, and he gets really, really explicit. So if that's something that bothers you, then just fast forward, or, you know, if you have loved ones around, if you're listening to this on a podcast or what have you, you got your kids or something. Again, I bleeped out everything, but I just want to give you fair warning and a heads up. Here you go.
I think that the evidence we have seen thus far, Occam's razor suggests Robinson is the likely culprit. We will see what happens in the trial when evidence is presented, but there's literally no other story. Just a bunch of retards on the internet saying stupid shit. And what that does is the organization that helped get Donald Trump elected, which needs to persist. You don't got to be a fan of it, but it certainly will help get individual congressional candidates elected and stop Democrats from launching new committees and putting more people in prison like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro. Instead, it's being gutted by psychopaths telling people to pull their donations. So when this organization burns to the ground, or whatever the happens to it, maybe they're fine. The organization that's rallying young people, causing a shift in the political leanings of a generation for the first time in history, is now in dire straits. Their leader and founder murdered, and prominent pieces of human trash are trying to destroy it. It's evil. So you know what? When someone pulls in front of my property and fires on it several times, I'm sitting here looking at these vile pieces of and thinking to myself, for what purpose will I stick my neck out if this is what happens after Charlie Kirk is killed? Candace Owens is a evil scumbag. She is a degenerate. She is burning everything down, and she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you told me? She has no security. She doesn't deal with the shit we have to deal with. She's a piece of shit. She's making everyone else suffer. And all of these conservatives out there that send me these messages have no balls to call her out. More and more people have started doing it. They send me these messages. Good for you, Tim. Good for you, Tim. I wasn't the first person to do it. I'm not going to take credit for that. But don't DM me like I did something for you as you cower, scared that she'll put you on her thumbnail and claim you benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination, which he's doing to me right now.
Yeah, that was the...
I'm done with these people.
She has security, just not on the level of you.
Oh, yeah, the one fat guy you mentioned with no wall and no barrier in a suburban neighborhood with neighbors. She doesn't give two shits. No one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told me you went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy, and she doesn't give a security. Meanwhile, I get bullets fired at my property, and I have to go live in the middle of nowhere. And I got strangers coming up to my house in Maryland, breaking in. I got people showing up and beating up the residents who trying to live there. How the am I even supposed to sell this property? And, you know, it's all lies. It's all hypocrisy. And it is for the purpose of making money. And she does not live the way other people live. And she claims she liked Charlie. She loved Charlie. And she is burning everything down that he built because she is evil.
So Candace Owens posts on X a couple of times saying, oh, there's something wrong with Tim. He's obviously troubled. He's obviously stressed. I pray for him, et cetera, et cetera. And he didn't take that too kindly. And then
No, he didn't.
She actually posted this on Instagram today, saying she's now found the final piece. I'm kind of laughing here because, look, before I share you what she says about Charlie Kirk, the final piece, it's just, I think Candace Owens is extremely intelligent. I think she's a fantastic marketer. I'm not, however, here's one criticism. I feel like her resources, her research, her due diligence is sometimes compromised for the sake of topic selection, for the sake of clicks. I will say that 100%. She's a brilliant marketer. She's a brilliant content creator. And this clip proves it. Again, I think she's super smart. I think she's super intelligent. I think she did a lot. to help Trump. I don't like the fact that she's kind of turned her back on Trump. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But this right here is a masterpiece of marketing. Check this out. Okay, so she said this on her Instagram story. So her first story says, yesterday was the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. In Catholic world, that's a day of holy obligation. So as soon as my podcast ended, I raced over to church for Mass. And then in her next story, she says, I distinctly prayed for a final peace. I prayed for God to give me a piece to the Charlie Kirk mystery that would be a nail in the coffin and expose the cover-up. So she prayed. I love prayer. That's fantastic. Next story. I went home and had a late dinner. Went up to lay in my daughter's bed for 15 minutes before going to down to mine. It's a little bit typo there. And thought, I'll just check the tips inbox. So she went upstairs, she prayed, and then this. It was the first email I opened. I genuinely cannot see this as anything other than an immediately answered prayer. A story from a man in the military that is about to blow this case open. Then she finalizes her story with, it feels like today will be the day that the government can no longer deny it. This is a huge claim. Charlie Kirk was assassinated and our military was involved. I can't wait to share this information with you guys today. You can't tell me that's not brilliant marketing. Now, who's not going to tune into that? You tell me. This is somebody who's getting millions and millions of views. And Tim Pool pointed this out, that her last, 20, 30 videos have all been about Charlie Kirk, have all attacked TPUSA, have all attacked.
I mean, we got almost 702 people that are probably not going to tap in. So, I mean, there's at least 702 of us. And if you agree, hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. So we got to correct you there, Nez.
Erica Kirk. I'm going to share a clip of Erica Kirk right now in a second too. So I'm just so curious. What do you guys think? Whose side are you on? Do you think Tim Pool is right?
On the Lord's
do you think Candace Owens is right? What do you guys think? There's just that one little molecule of me that just thinks and wonders, what if she's right? But I need to see concrete, substantial, proof and evidence. I need receipts that are ironclad. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Here's Erica Kirk when asked, how does she deal with all the people criticizing her? This is what she said she does. Check it out.
From everyone, and you guys get this too. I know you get the echo chamber. You get people analyzing everything about you. They think they know everything about you. They know nothing about you. They see you on TV. They think, oh, she's this, she's that. He said this, he said that. And honestly, it's Charlie saying, baby E, just stop. Stop. You don't have to answer to every single person that's accusing you of things or saying that you're doing this or grieving a certain way. Baby, just stop. You know who you are and whose you are, and I'm here. I see you. And if Charlie, and I'm taking a page out of his book, if he answered to every single critic and didn't stop and put his phone down and breathe and rest with the Lord, he'd get nothing done. He would not have built Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action.
God bless Erica Kirk, and may God bless and keep Charlie Kirk always. Tomorrow, September 10th, is going to be the 3-month anniversary. And we must never forget what happened to Charlie, because what happened to Tim, what's happened to Matt Walsh, and so many other people is absolutely despicable, and it needs to stop right now. And with your help, we can make it stop. Thank you so much for watching. Tap that thumbs up if you love America, so we can help make Common Sense go viral. Check out these videos coming up on the screen just in case.
Shout out to Professor Nez, excellent content creator. Shout out to Chisney 87, brand new member. Appreciate you. Welcome. Thank you so much. And let us keep, oh man, look at this one right here. Firm Xing right here with the 5 says this, that God would answer that prayer and that Charlie would visit her in a dream is somehow more credible than God stopping the bullet. I see what you did there. See, that's a Christian miracle. I think it's funny how she always used to call it a Christian miracle, but let's continue. Thank you for that. I appreciate the 5. And thank you so much for tuning in right here as well with the 5. I watched the Keisha King show. She seemed godly. Haven't researched her but she brought out some good points. I've watched Keisha King as well. Fantastic content creator as well. Maybe I'll bring up one of her videos one time. Your girl is going live at 5:30. I would love for you all to, when this show is over, Paramount Tactical, a lot of you all were telling me about that, and they are doing some great work over there at Paramount Tactical. I want to bring this in. I want y'all to, he's doing a show tonight debunking the Egyptian planes. I want to say it's at 8 o'clock. I think it would be great for us to jump over there when we get done. Hopefully we'll be done with this, all this jump over there, green hearting up in the chat, all that kind of stuff like that. Let me bring this in and let's check out a little bit of what Tactical is saying. And hopefully I can encourage you to go check them out today. Let's go. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
I feel like I was set up by the federal government in terms of this lawsuit. Like, this wasn't just Brigitte and Emmanuel sitting down making a mistake by filing this national lawsuit, but rather federal agencies, which may have been colluding and speaking to one another about how to put an end to my research into who Brigitte was, because all of these governments are implicated. And by all of them, I mean France, the United States, and Israel implicated.
So 3 different countries, the United States, Israel, and France, conspired together to sue Candace Owens for defamation to stop her from investigating Brigitte Macron.
And I don't know why Candace is just ignoring the fact that she antagonized France to sue her, just like she antagonized others. Like, she wants people to sue her. Why did she do that? Oh, let's keep going.
Just to say that requires narcissistic levels of self-importance and probably some delusion as well. We got a lot to talk about. Let's go. Hey folks, Gary here with Paramount, and today is Thursday, December 4th, and I hope everybody out there is having a wonderful day. Look, I've spent my own time, money, efforts, and everything else investigating the Charlie Kirk assassination since it took place because I care about the truth. That's really all that matters to me. And throughout this entire process, what I've tried to do is try to build a coalition of people acting in good faith, regardless of what they believe. I don't care if they believe in whatever conspiracies. And I've had them on my live streams. We've talked about it. We've discussed it. We've had good discussions and debates about it and everything else. And again, I wanted to build this environment to where we could have these discussions and kind of sanity check one another and combine resources and, combine our research and everything else. And apparently that's just not possible because, I've actually went to UVU. I've talked to people on the ground. I saw the UVU campus. I saw where everything took place. I spent my own time and money, tens of thousands of dollars, number one, going there. On top of that, making sure that we have a 3D model, which is available to the public of the entire facility so that people can see what is possible and what's not possible. And the moment that you get outside of what is now the orthodoxy, which is really anything other than the official narrative, all those other crazy things that, by the way, have been proven completely false. But if you look at the evidence, and we're going to go through the evidence amongst other things. If you look at the evidence and you come to a conclusion based on actual evidence and not wild speculation, people come after you like I've never seen. I've been doing this for a really long time. We've had a YouTube channel for many years now. I've always covered conservative politics, things that matter to me. And, I've had a lot of people come after me for political reasons. I've never seen the vitriol and the propaganda and the smear campaigns like I've seen when it comes to the Charlie Kirk assassination. I've never seen anything like it. It's pretty crazy. Cult, and even with Candace Owens, especially with someone that gets the viewership that she does, with the resources that she has, even if it was behind the scenes, I was hoping to collaborate with her, to talk with her, again, this is about finding the truth and to dismantling lies. I don't care where those lies come from. If they come from the U.S. government, we're going to dismantle them. If they come from social media, we're going to dismantle them and get the truth to the American people, because the truth is all that matters. But unfortunately, Candace Owens has went down a road of nothing but propaganda, lies, and I have proof of all that. And we're going to go through that. And at the end of this, I'm going to talk about what I think are some of the motives, some of the driving forces behind all of this. And it's not just Candace, there's many other things going on politically, internationally, and we're going to talk about all that. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go through and show you some of the tactics and techniques that Candace uses to deceive millions at a time. She uses outright lies, she uses straw man arguments, she uses gross exaggeration, among many others. But here's just some of the things that she does that you can take these examples and you can see them in every single one of her episodes to create this fictitious narrative. And at the end of this, I'm going to talk about the real world impacts, the negative, destructive impact that this is having on our society, on political discussion, and so much more. But let's get into some of these examples of real evidence.
So this is Paramount Ballistic. Everybody was wondering, or if anybody was wondering, I thank the mods for dropping the link in the chat. Check out the rest of this video. We're not going to be able to watch it all because your girl's going live at 5:30, and then I would like to wrap up. I got a couple of videos to watch, and then Paramount's coming on at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to debunk the plane. And I wouldn't mind, maybe we'll watch it, just keep this stream going and then just pull it in, or we'll just jump over there. Maybe we'll jump over there and all give them green hearts, give them some support, and then watch it over here. I don't know. We'll figure that part out. But I think he crushes it. He brings up several examples that I actually forgotten about some of them. That's how crazy this story has been over the last 3 months. So let's give him room to go, Jason. Let's go.
That she is making serious efforts to deceive everybody out there. All right, so this first example is from episode 244. She's talking about why she believes that the text messages from Tyler to Lance Twiggs, among other people, are basically fabricated. And what she talks about is the fact that because there's the word vehicle in these text messages, that's not a word that any normal American, any teenager would actually use. And then she provides proof of that with a video.
By the way, I'm sure you caught this, but there's old footage of Tyler Robinson that is now circulating from a car accident that he had. And during the discussion with the officer that showed up, Tyler certainly refers to it as his car, not his vehicle, because that's how most Americans, how most English speakers refer to a car, unless they're in the military or on the police force. So here.
Or sovereign citizens. If y'all have ever watched sovereign citizens try to explain themselves away at a traffic stop, I've heard some of the craziest things for car, vehicle. It is amazing. Sovereign citizens are probably they have the largest vocabulary for not saying car on the planet. So I'm sorry, Candace, it's not just military, it's not just police, sovereign citizens, which, by the way, Candace sounds a lot like a sovereign citizen. I'm just saying. I'm not saying she is.
There is 2022 police body cam footage, in case you missed that, of Tyler making a crash report. Take a listen.
Your mom's on her way?
Yeah, she's gonna be a minute. She's got to shuttle over from where she's at to her car and then drive over.
Gotcha.
His mother was going to shuttle over from her car? Interesting. There's more, of course.
There is more, but she didn't show it to you. That video clip is a little over 3 minutes. And she pulled out one little piece where he says car, and that is proof. And by the way, who the heck says shuttle over to her car?
It's gonna be a minute. She's got to shuttle over from where she's at to her car.
This kid obviously kind of speaks in ways that I don't think most of us are just familiar with. But just a few seconds later in that exact same video clip, here's what happens.
There was a vehicle in the lane between lanes. There was a vehicle in the lane between lanes. There was a vehicle in the lane.
So there we go. In the exact same video that she uses to prove that he doesn't use the word vehicle, he does use the word vehicle. So that is a clear, that's a lie, or it's incompetence. Why would she not watch the entire video to make sure that she has her, T's crossed and her I's dotted? She made the entire case that, hey, you shouldn't believe that these text messages are legitimate because, hey, he doesn't use the word vehicle, when in fact he does. So Let's move on. All right, so the next example of a lie and deception is from episode 244. It aired September 29th. Let's play this.
Of most interest to me, what I've learned is that his father does not believe, his parents don't believe that their son committed this crime. I was like, huh? Excuse me? That's a far cry from what the media has been telling us. Remember, the media presented this amazing story. The father realized his son was guilty, so it goes, right? And then he phoned over a friend. That quote unquote family friend informed the family. It was that in-between person that informed the family that Tyler had been identified as the shooter. It's a far cry from what the media has been telling us. Remember, the media presented this amazing story.
All right, so who was this media that created this amazing story? So basically what she's saying here is it wasn't the parents that identified him. It was the family friend that said, hey, look, we've identified him. We think it's Tyler. He needs to turn himself in. But let's jump here to episode 237, September 17th. Just, I don't know. We're talking 12 days prior to this. And this is what Candace actually said to begin with.
I have a source, and everything the source has told me that has happened and when we were lied to publicly has proven to be correct. So I am very inclined to believe this source on a couple of other things. And when I speak also to Lance's family, they are confirming what this source is telling me. So we're going to go through this.
All right, so she has a source that she has found extremely reliable. And on top of that, everything this source has said has been confirmed by other people. Let's see what the source actually has to say.
So they released the photo. And then we are told, as my source initially told me, that it was the mother who recognized Tyler and she phones him up. Tyler says, Mom, I'm sick. She doesn't believe it. She loops in dad. Okay.
Okay, she does more than loop in dad. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But look at what she's saying. Just 12 days prior, she said she has a source that confirmed that the mother saw the surveillance footage, recognized her own son. It was the parents that recognized her own son. And she didn't just loop in dad. She showed the father, Matt Robinson, the surveillance footage of the suspect that the FBI released. And let's read the charging documents. This is the official charging documents. I have them right here. This is an excerpt. I believe this is from page 6. Robinson's mother stated the following to police on September 11th, 2025, the day after the shooting. Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was homesick and that he had also been homesick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed, which this is literally confirmed by Candace and her extremely reliable source.
As my source initially told me, that it was the mother who recognized Tyler and she phones him up.
Now here we are at the charging documents again. This is page 7. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that the police suspected the shooter used matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son, asked him to send a photo of the rifle. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied that he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. As they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy, Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate. So that's the story that Candace and her reliable source confirmed. But here we are 12 days later, and she's contradicting her reliable source altogether just to change the narrative.
So they released the photo. And then we are told, as my source initially told me, that it was the mother who recognized Tyler. Remember, the media presented this amazing story. The father realized his son was guilty, so it goes, right? And then he phoned over a friend. I was told actually that it was kind of the opposite. That quote unquote family friend informed the family.
Candace uses a technique, and I've heard it called the snicker technique, where she acts so ridiculous that you almost like feel embarrassed that you believe it. If you go back and watch how she was behaving about the father, like, oh, the father, oh, it almost sounds like you would be completely insane to believe this. And almost like, because of course you don't want people to think you're insane. You want people to snicker at you or laugh at you so you would not believe that. And she does that whenever she wants to move a narrative in a certain direction or kind of slide in. She just does this, and she does it all the time. When she says that people are panicking and she's over the target. Oh, they came and attacked me on Twitter. No, she does that all the time. So I just thought that was interesting. I just want to pull that in. Let's go.
That Tyler had been identified as the shooter. He recognized him. He knows Tyler.
She was the media that created that story. And actually, the story wasn't created by the media. The story was created by the charging documents, and which were verified by her reliable source. And yet 12 days later, we're completely changing that narrative. The fact is, we have zero evidence that we should depart away from the facts that are actually in the charging documents that were verified by her own sources. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and skip to December 1st. And I'm telling you, folks, I could go through all of her different episodes, and I can show you prime examples of where she just incoherently and without any reason just jumps to these other narratives that make no sense, with, again, no evidence behind them other than her sources say, her feels, her vibes, whatever she's got going on. But this is episode 271, December 1st, 2025.
Going back to November 25th, I obviously tweeted exactly what I was informed. Okay, I'm going to read that tweet to you in its entirety. Urgent. 2 days ago, I was contacted.
All right, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It's a long tweet, but you guys, most of you have seen this tweet. Yeah. She claims that she has proof that there is a threat on her life and a hit has been put out on her from the French government. There's a lots of things about that that don't make sense that I'll get into in a minute, but let's jump forward a little bit here.
I got even more specific. 2 assassins were hired, one Israeli, one French-Canadian woman, okay, a man and a woman. And I also said that the money ran through the elite gentleman Club des Cent. Again, I was very specific. And I asserted that the French Foreign Legion, which was a legion and a group that I had never heard about prior to this notification, were involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. Okay, I don't follow military stuff. So me even mentioning specific gendarmerie, you have to assume that I got this information from somebody.
And you didn't check it.
I have no doubt that she's getting this information from somewhere. When you have a platform as big as Candace Owens, and you're clearly willing to put out.
Okay, take note of this. This is why I believe Candace Owens, the tip line, is her biggest opposition. Check this out. I love the way he explained this.
Information with so little evidence other than a source says, or even said source tries to provide some sort of bona fides of who they are, which is very easy to do. You become a prime target for disinformation agents of all types, from foreign adversaries, from political adversaries. I don't doubt that there's somebody that has convinced her that they are close to high in the French government and have provided, I don't know, whatever proof that she required to provide. You know, that could be somebody in the French government, that could be somebody in another government, could be somebody in, you know, their parents' basement in Baltimore. Look, I don't think it's that hard to convince Candace that you are a legitimate source. And I don't think she would require a lot. I think she's naive. I mean, just like she said, she's ignorant of the military and how things work with that. We're going to talk more about the French Foreign Legion, National Guard, and some of the other things that she is alleging that just defy common sense altogether. So again, I don't doubt that she's being fed this information. I just think that she is easily tricked and is too eager to put out this type of stuff. And Absolutely. I think people are taking advantage of that fact.
Did I report it to the White House? Of course I reported it to the White House. Did I report it to the FBI? Of course I reported it to the FBI. Did I report it to our counterterrorism unit? Of course I reported it, because I'm telling you there's a paper trail. Common sense. You think I'm just...
So even here, this is another one of those snicker moments. Of course I did. Of course I did. She even starts with, of course I did. But you really didn't though, ma'am. You didn't. You text somebody in the FBI. You didn't, and there's still been no evidence or proof. So this is another one of those snicker tactics that she uses.
Doing that because I'm assuming you could get a felony for making something up out of thin air like that. You can't just use United States resources to go after somebody in a plot that never existed that you did for clicks on YouTube.
Look, I'll be honest with you. I'm not convinced that she believes this threat is real. And there's good evidence of that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. Because basically what she can do is she may be getting this source that she probably doesn't believe to begin with. And she can take that information that she's got.
Other than her saying it, we have zero confirmation she even filed any reports to any agencies. It's just more, trust me, bro. Hey, does this guy follow me? He might be playing Candy Rot bingo with us. We're going to play bingo again tomorrow. I promise. This is craziness. Okay, shout out.
And give it to the White House, give it to the FBI or whatever else. And it gives her plausible deniability in all of this. So that's what I think. But things get even weirder here in just a second when it comes to her reporting of this information.
The idea that it was a multinationally planned event. And by the way, is that on its face even plausible?
No, it's not.
Multiple agencies and multiple countries involved from Egypt to Israel. People are saying that's totally crazy.
It is totally crazy because we have a couple of issues with that. If we have this multinational conspiracy to kill Charlie Kirk, which is what she's referencing right now, what I want to know from Candace is the how. All right, you can throw all these allegations out, but not once has she shown the mechanism for which they made it work. So we have the French Foreign Legion, we have Israelis. Who actually took the shot? Where were they? Who was on the roof? Was that, like, I don't even know. Like, give us some details here. Like, you can't just move on without telling us how it took place. And she doesn't even believe that Tyler Robinson was on campus, even though both of his parents confirmed and identified him as the suspected shooter from surveillance footage on campus. Let's listen to this next part because this is where some of the things that she constantly does as far as deception goes continues to play out.
No, it's the lone shooter who had never been on campus, who climbed the roofs like Spider-Man.
This is something that she said in multiple episodes. Yeah, you know, Tyler Robinson climbed the roofs like Spider-Man. Oh, it's so crazy. She uses such gross exaggeration to make a point and to make you, the listener, believe that the idea that Tyler Robinson was on the roof is nuts. Well, here's footage from when I went to UVU. Let me show you exactly how much of a Spider-Man you have to be to get on this roof. It's insane. All right, folks, so here's the stairs that go to the roof.
He should have been playing that old Spider-Man music. Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. He should have been playing that. That would have been hilarious.
Wow.
So this is a stair, the roof access, I believe Harple was talking about. I think this is the one where he was saying he wanted somebody to be standing at the stairs.
This wall is about maybe 3 feet tall. All right, so right there is the shooting position. It's about 200 feet away from there. You don't need to be Spider-Man. As a matter of fact, you don't even need arms. You can literally get up there if you didn't have arms. So for her to say that you need to be Spider-Man and convince her, because there's a lot of people that still don't know this, and many of you watching this maybe didn't know this is how easy it was to get to the shooting location. There was nothing difficult about it. And for her to say that you need to be Spider-Man and to use this weird straw man argument for that point and this gross exaggeration to make it seem so ridiculous when it was so easy, that is clearly intentionally deceptive and outright dishonest and propaganda to push a narrative. By definition, it is propaganda. All right, so now she talks about her replies that she got from letting different government agencies know that she has had a threat to her life. Let's hear what she has to say.
Now, in terms of formal replies that we received from government structures,
Okay, so a lot of you all have been talking about And I'm gonna stop right here because I want you to look at this. Thank you so much for the mods who've been dropping the link to Paramount Tactical. Go by and check them out. He's doing a great job. I'm not going to be able to finish this video before Candace starts, but a lot of you all have been talking about the fact that Candace doesn't watch the screen or doesn't look at the camera. And I thought about it. I was like, her teleprompter is right here where her camera is. Her teleprompter is right here. What is she looking for up in the air? Because there's nothing up there. Like there's no monitor up there. There shouldn't be, at least. I mean, her teleprompter is probably right here at her camera level and whatnot like that, because I can see her reading it. And so what is she doing? And a lot of you all have brought it up, and you've mentioned that she's searching, she's thinking, and usually when she does this is when she comes up with some really fantastic stories. There you go. The lies you tell. So I think it's interesting. Whenever she looks up like this, I know there's nothing up there. There's not a monitor up there. I mean, there's not. So what are you looking at? I have a little screen right here to the right of your right. I guess my left, your right, where I put my script every now and then, but then I go off script and I end up having to find out where I am. So I don't have a teleprompter. So sometimes if I'm looking this way, I'm looking at my script, which is on level with my camera. She's looking at, I don't know what she's looking at. She's looking at the cobwebs because I have no idea what she's doing. It just stood out to me, y'all. And I just want to bring that up. Let's go.
Government structures. The only department that we did hear back, well, first let me say, I did not at all hear back from the FBI.
Oh my gosh.
On the American side. I did hear back from the counterterrorism unit.
Once again, why do we have no screenshots of the sent emails or replies? Seems pretty easy to provide. And notice where she's looking. I didn't mean to stop right there, but notice where she's looking. Wow.
I did hear back from the White House confirming that message had been delivered on Trump's desk. Me saying that I had the information. I guess he didn't want to inquire further, which is interesting. But the FBI left me on red. And I will say I didn't go through an official channel and send an email, and I should do that. But I did send a text message to somebody very high up who received the text message. No response.
Wait, what? You believe that there is a multinational, state-sponsored assassination team coming to kill you and your family? Your husband?
I understand her family wasn't mentioned, but they would obviously be in danger as well.
And you sent a text message and didn't send a formal email to the FBI? That's what you're trying to tell me right now?
Or a police report.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that you believe that this threat is real. I'll just say that. That's like that. If my family was in danger and I thought a state-sponsored assassination team was coming to kill me and my family, I would be sending that everywhere. And I would make sure that and by the way, when I got a response, if I have a platform like this, I'm going to show you that response. Why is it she's showing us the confirmation of her emails? She demands evidence from everybody, from the FBI, from TPUSA, from Utah. And she never gives the simplest of evidence to us to confirm anything that she says. And she doesn't mind sharing. The only evidence that we have gotten is sort of the text messages early on. Why doesn't she show this text message that she even sent that information? What is she afraid of there? Why are we not seeing the confirmations of receipt that she says that she tweeted about as well, that they acknowledge receipt of all of this information? Why don't we even have that? Doesn't make sense. All right. So
shout out to Paramount Tactical. I want to take a quick second to shout out everybody that's jumped into the best live chat on the internet. I don't know what you have going on tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I don't know if you're driving to work or you're going to be in the office or whatever like that. You're going to be working from home. But at 9:00 tomorrow, I'm going to be having an interview with Rochelle Lee, who is a young woman that interviewed Brandon Tatum. And she had a great interview with Brandon Tatum. I thought it was fantastic. But I think most of you all have heard or have seen, whether it be on X or here on YouTube, Brandon Tatum has some kind of alleged issue with her dad, and he texted her or emailed her and asked her to remove the video of their interview because he doesn't like her dad, which is crazy work. Anyway, she's going to be coming on the channel tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to having her come on. We're going to have a good conversation. So far, the conversation we've had have been great. So I did tell her up front, my dad is kind of ornery, but I'm going to go on a limb and say, you know what? You've probably never met my dad. So therefore, I don't think she's going to want to turn down the interview because of my dad. And I don't know much about her dad. And guess what? I'm not going to hold the child responsible for the sins of their father. So therefore, we're going to let that one slide too. So I think we're going to have a good conversation tomorrow. And that's going to be at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. The link, I'll make sure I already have it ready. I'm just waiting for it. I just got her picture. So I'm going to go ahead and make the thumbnail while we're watching whatever Candace is going to be talking about. But shout out to the best and most electrifying live chat on the planet. Shout out real quick. Paramount be investigating the way Candace should. Thank you, Slayer Princess, for the $2 super. MT back up in the building. Don't get put in timeout again today. Did you see her Russell Brand video? I did not see it. I'm trying not to. I know we be doing a lot of Candace reviews. So I try not to, believe it or not, I'm trying not to overwhelm us with Candace content, even though I do put out a lot of Candace content. I'm like, there's a lot. I could do the Russell Brand. I could do, there's so many. And I've gone through the crates. I found old, ancient Candace videos that I could just have fun with for hours. So I did not do the Russell Brand. If y'all want me to, I will. But that's it. Phantom picked up on it too with the $2. Said this, what counterterrorism unit? We don't have one. I don't know what she was talking about. I think she meant like, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not going to even give her grace. But yeah, that was extra crazy for sure. But y'all, thank y'all so much for jumping in. Okay. Yeah, I don't have to do the Russell Brand video. If y'all don't want it, trust me, your boy will not be mad. I don't have a lot. I don't know a lot about Russell Brand. He just doesn't seem like somebody. He's not my brand. See what I did there? See that pun there? All right. One thing I've learned last 2 episodes is do not allow that music to play. That music that she plays right after her intro gets my videos. I get a copy ding for that little 3 seconds of music. That's crazy. So I got to make sure I block that out because I've been pretty good at it. But my last 2 videos I did not, and it hit me up. I don't know what that's about, but shout out for sure. Y'all, we got 1,100 people up in here, almost 1,200. Make sure y'all get those likes up there. Help your boy out. I really appreciate y'all. So she's going to be changing the world, shock the world type of interview here today. Okay, we'll see. We've been here. We've heard this before. Well, I mean, it is that. And the demon be trying to mess my video up. Russell's crazy like Candace. That's interesting. I don't know much about Russell Brand. He didn't look well. I'll tell you that much. Charlie put Candace in friend zone. She has been jealous ever since. Dang. How did I miss that? Yes, Candace has been in the friend zone. She mad about being in the friend zone. That's what it is. How did I miss that? Candace needs shock treatment is crazy. Y'all, hold on. I found some really fun body cam footage. We are going to do like a body cam footage day. Like we did Sunday, just like no Candace at all, just body cam. I got some body cams that are ridiculous. Yeah, I got some good ones that are really, really out of control. So those will be coming soon. Just to change it up. Just to change up a little bit. What do we got here? Somebody told us that this is their support group. They said they go to their support group every afternoon around 5-ish or so. And they were talking about my channel. I said, that's hilarious. All right, green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
All right, you guys, happy Tuesday. Where to begin? Well, in the final days leading up to Charlie Kirk's assassination, Charlie was pretty busy, right? He went on a first-time trip to Asia, quite a quick trip, at least a quick turnaround to go first to Korea for a couple of days and then off to Japan. And honestly, if I was a conspiracy theorist, and I kind of am one,
Lord knows.
I think at this stage that the timing of that trip might have been intentional because something was going on back home that they didn't want him to see. Well, what I'm about to tell you guys today is going to positively blow your mind. I just cannot see how this would lead to anything other than a full confession from the government about the military's involvement in his assassination, but I'm just going to deliver the facts and see where they land. Welcome back to Candace.
All right, block the sound. There we go. Get that sound out. Lord have mercy. This woman is already looking up at the sky. Here we go. Let's go. Shout out to Candace.
I am just going to tell you guys exactly how everything came about, everything
Break
I'm
it
about
down.
to deliver to you. Yesterday was a holy day of obligation in the Catholic Church. It was the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. A day of obligation means that a day in which you are required to attend Mass outside of, obviously, typically Sundays. And so as soon as we concluded this podcast, I grabbed my jacket and I ran out the door, okay? And as I was sitting through Mass, deciding, I guess, what was on my mind to pray about, for whatever reason, got on my knees, and I was not expecting this to come out, but I just focused my prayer on wanting something to be delivered to me, a piece of evidence that would help us put together the full picture of this assassination. Obviously, we all know that what we are being told is not true. Yeah, we all know that nothing that we have been presented with makes any practical sense. But there are...
It's funny. She's saying that nothing that we've been told makes practical sense. We have the charging documents. We can read that and say, okay, there's a systematic, we can see the flow. Where's Candace's alleged charging documents? Where's any evidence, pictures, emails, DMs, text messages, smoke signals, anything to substantiate anything that she said? Besides her sitting there with her hands looking very coy and positioning like this, where's any proof? Anything? It's always this.
Sort of smoking guns in this that are missing, right? It's one thing to point out all the lies, but we need to also have solid, concrete proof of something that took place that was out of the ordinary in the day.
In the chat, if y'all believe that she's gonna give us anything concrete, put a brick in the chat. Put a brick in the chat, and let's just go ahead with green hearts. Green hearts in the chat. If you do not believe she's going to give us anything tangible, anything concrete that we can look at with our own eyes. Let's go.
He's leading up, maybe, I don't know, a planning session. Well, I got back home after this very intentional prayer and did my routine, had a very late dinner. Went up and said goodnight to the kids, got myself ready for bed, sat in bed, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to open the tips box. And I kid you not when I say that it was the very first email that I saw, the very first email that I opened up. And it really didn't have any details. It was a young woman, and she said, "You really should call my friend. It is absolutely urgent, and he has information that you need to hear." And don't tell me why. I don't know what came over me, but maybe it was this intentional prayer. I said, I'm just going to call him right now. 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes after this email hit my inbox, I was calling this person, and I had no idea what it was going to lead to, whether it was going...
Remember what Paramount Tactical said, and he said it way better than your boy has said it. The tip line, this is yet again, the tip line is leading her down a path. Now she's calling some strange man that she doesn't know. And she's going to get some earth-shattering information. We know it. But just think about that, man. Like, think about how the tip line keeps becoming the main character in this story. That's wild business.
Going to be a totally insane person, or whether or not it was going to be a very
Irony.
swiftly answered prayer. The person that I spoke with, his name is or was Harry, and he told me a story which I have since fact checked various elements, the elements that I could fact check, and
You ain't fact checked that 920 building.
it's legit.
She's
This is
lying.
a legit
Look at where
story
she's
I'm gonna share with
looking.
you, and I want to say before I relay it that the descriptions of the people are based off of his own memory, but the facts pertaining to where he was, whether he was where he says he was, for the reasons that he says that he was there, he is being honest. Okay.
Okay. Again, she has so many untied, unsolved, unconcluded aspects. It's like her Windows browser must have like 95 tabs open. And they're all like in the process, like empty shopping cart. I'm in the process of typing the address. I'm writing an email. I mean, everything is incomplete. Like, ma'am, you never even substantiated that 6-page email that you read, the 920 email. I'm still bitter about the 920 email. Y'all know your boy. I need help. This is crazy work, y'all. Shout out to the best live chat. Let's go.
That he is being 100% honest. And
How do you know that?
To look further into this, I am certain he is going to probably be doing a lot of interviews in the near future. I can also factually state that there was an incident report, so this was recorded.
Why is he not doing an interview with you, though? That's my next question. Why are you not interviewing anybody that's related to this and saying, hey, will you come on and substantiate it? And I apologize, y'all, it's it's something that she does. The way that they're doing their stream, the audio is horrible. I don't know why. Okay, why are you not interviewing them?
What transpired on September 8th that caught him by surprise was something that he thought was a part of a broader military conspiracy against him. He could not fully comprehend why what was happening. Okay, so let's start actually 35 years ago, because you need to know who this man is. In 1990, this young man named Harry Myers discovered something that would shape the next 3 decades of his life. Okay, he was at the bottom of the military chain. He was just 20 years old, and he was put on what was actually a brand new command, the first ever Joint Task Force 6. And this new command was being created down at the border by President George H.W. Bush, and it was presented to the American public as, look, a war on drugs with the help of Colin Powell. And it should be noted that this took place, just to kind of get you back into what was going on at the beginning of the 1990s. This took place just after the Iran-Contra affair, right? The Iran-Contra affair was from, I think, 1981 to 1986, happened under Reagan. And for those of you who are not read into massive CIA scandals, this was the scandal when the American public got to learn that our CIA was actually trafficking drugs and weapons throughout South America. A scandal which, if you guys have followed our Epstein series, we now know that he was also involved in the Iran-Contra scandal. It essentially shook the foundation of Reagan's White House. And during that time, during Reagan's tenure, George H.W. Bush was the vice president, okay, throughout this scandal. So when George H.W. Bush then decided that he was going to run as a president of the United States, and he did run, and he ran in 1988, just a couple of years following that affair, he had to really hit hard on drugs at the border, and declare that this White House was going to do all that it could to stop these drugs from flooding into America. Take a listen to him saying what they were going to be cracking down on.
This is crack cocaine, seized a few days ago by drug enforcement agents in a park just across the street from the White House. It could easily have been heroin or PCP. It's as innocent looking as candy, but it's turning our cities into battle zones, and it's murdering our children. Let there be no mistake. This stuff is poison.
So you hear the directive from the then president, H.W. Now, our protagonist in the story is Harry, right? He's 20 years old, and he's at the bottom of the military totem pole, and he gets attached to this new command, this new Southern Command. Previously, there had never been that joint task force, and specifically, he was a part of an operation that came to be known as Operation Catacomb. He describes himself, and I'm going to put this in quotations, as a lowly military censor guy assigned to this Joint Task Operation 6, and they were to...
So she's done all of this research since last night, coming home from her obligation at church, late dinner. She's done all of this research to know that this is true, to know that this is verifiable in that amount of time. But every time she's done this in the past, she's got an egg on her face. Every single time. Why are we to believe now she has done enough and sufficient research? This seems like an involved thing, a week, if not more, of checking sources and triple checking leads and so forth. But she's doing this in what, 12 hours, 13 hours? Okay.
Cover half of Arizona and Mexico. And I'm going to read this next portion of his story directly from him, okay? And I quote, "In just 6 days, I planted sensors, translated data, and skipped the chain of command and gave proof of the existence and pinpointed the location of the first ever discovered Sinaloa cartel underground rail tunnel. By passing directly through to lower Border Patrol agents, I skipped command and directly, a Border Patrol agent was able to skip his command and directly sought a warrant to raid the tunnel, which avoided tipping off any compromised commanders that were working with the cartel. Thus, why it resulted in such a big bust. Most importantly, it did not give time to remove photos that were on the walls on the Mexican side. Where our Joint Task Commander, who was a high-ranking Border Patrol, was actually in the photos in that house, posing with El Chapo and Felipe, his architect. And there were other U.S. Marine officers and Mexican law enforcement officers and military that were in those photos, okay, end quote. So just to be clear, he discovers this tunnel, somehow skips the chain of command. Now they find this massive tunnel and, oh, wait, why are military commanders and high up people in the military in pictures with El Chapo?
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. Hold on one second. If she brings up valves, that whole valve shenanigans, okay, I'm going to probably give out 10 memberships or something. If she brings up valves, if she tries to bring valves in, I'm going to give out 10 memberships. I cannot believe that we're here. I cannot believe it. Let me save this one. Remind me if she says it.
But what's going on here? I'm going to pause here to let you see an old news clip regarding this explosive discovery that Harry made.
The tunnel was called one of the most sophisticated drug smuggling schemes authorities have ever seen. Using jackhammers and torches, federal agents broke into the concrete reinforced tunnel at a warehouse in Douglas, Arizona. 30 feet underground, agents walked for 100 yards through the 5-foot-high tunnel. It took them under the Mexican border to a house in Agua Prieta. There, they found an air compressor, a sump pump, a small trolley car, and a hydraulic jack. It was used to lift up the floor inside the living room of the house, where the smugglers would start their illegal trip to the U.S. Authorities said when the tunnel wasn't being used for drug running, the smugglers would flood it with water.
Let's say we came over here with some technology trying to detect this. It would look like an underground stream if it was flooded.
Federal agents said the tunnel cost at least $1 million to build and had probably been in operation for 6 months to a year. Last November, customs agents received a tip that a sophisticated tunnel was being used to funnel cocaine into the United States.
this type of tunnel is not an amateur operation. It's a highly sophisticated engineering feat that took place.
Mexican authorities were also involved in the investigation and the raid. Earlier this month, police seized 2,000 pounds of cocaine, which they said came into the U.S. through the tunnel.
What does this
The
got to do with
drugs were headed
anything?
for Southern California.
And what's not said in that news clip is there were pictures of United States military men.
Where? How do you know that? How do you know that those pictures are there? Like, you're just taking this from a random that called you, or you called the random from your tip line. How do you know any of that is true? Okay, because clearly we could probably find the George H. Bush talking about this is crack cocaine. We could probably find that video on YouTube. What is your concrete, pun intended, evidence?
Next is predictable, given what we now know. Harry's superiors take the credit for the bust, and he's going to continue what happens. I'm going to, again, quote him verbatim. Quote, on the surface, I was given a small award, an Army medal. I have the write-ups for those awards mentioning me and my critical role in this mission's success. That said, U.S. Border Patrol members who recognized me as being the agent responsible for the bust did not like seeing that I wasn't being appreciated more and resented my higher-ups for taking the credit for the discovery. Somehow, in the immediate days after the bust, prior to the United States side getting the photos from the Mexican authorities, my information was given to the cartels. In continuing the mission, me and one Border Patrol agent were sent to Naco, Arizona, where I was approached by a cartel member confirming my identification by rattling off my mother's name, address, my high school, my friends, everything listed in my clearance packet, which was supposed to be locked in the custody of the Joint Task Force 6 commander, whose picture was with El Chapo and about to be discovered. We avoided being taken hostage or shot, sneaking away and driving out of that little town. I was taken back to Fort Huachuca with the U.S. Border Patrol agent I was with, believing...
There's nothing that... Ma'am, this sounds like Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. This doesn't... Ma'am, Queen of the South. This sounds like any other run-of-the-mill out west drug running show. This is craziness, and she really is treating this like she's, ma'am, you're getting punked.
Since I was just a young 20-year-old, that I must have somehow compromised
training
my own
day.
ID. The next day, I had a debrief with the Army Criminal Investigation Division and a prosecutor from Tucson, Arizona, informing me of how my ID became compromised. I was told that I was then going to be put in witness protection. My orders restricted me from any further work in counter narcotics, from being stationed on or south of the border, and it prevented me from working with Border Patrol. It was a Band-Aid while they prepared and got approval for me to be put into witness protection. Also, to protect me, the mission and the prosecutions, I was also put under an NDA gag order, which was dated after.
I'm muted, y'all. Good gracious. She's looking at the camera right here. You know why? Because she's reading the teleprompter. The teleprompter is right here. And whenever she's reading, quote unquote, whatever he told her. And so therefore she's got to read the teleprompter. But once she goes off script, she starts looking up at the sky, and usually over to this side, which is her right. When she starts doing that, that's when you know she's lying. That's just it. Now, these lies are written out on paper, sadly, and she's written out on her screen. So she's looking at the teleprompter to tell these stories. But once she's done with that, and she started looking up at the sky, that's when you know she's telling a lie. All right, let's go.
Out, okay, look, it says 1990 to May of 2025. to prevent me from mentioning this entire ordeal. The witness protection entrance never happened. The ball got dropped. I never got contacted for it. From what we uncovered, a deal was made with the compromised U.S. Border Patrol agent commander. Okay, so let's pause and just recap there very quickly. And I'm going to tell you what this has to do with Charlie Kirk, okay?
Lord knows we want to
I
know.
guess in a sentence, a young military man did his job excellently. He accidentally stumbled upon, or actually, accidentally stumbled upon the fact that our government was implicated, not in fighting the cartels, but working with the cartels. And suddenly he realizes after some time that the government then feeds him, or somebody spitefully, perhaps his commander, fed him to the cartels. And now he's on the run for his life. What happens over the course of the next 35 years is he's hacked. He says that he goes through abusive litigation. He is harassed. He says there are narco attorneys that attack his credit. He has police records, by the way, for all of this. He has presented evidence for this. But throughout a certain point in time, these police records were virtually disappeared. He had been reporting that hitmen were coming after him. He had names. This was a 35 years long ordeal. He now has all of his paperwork thanks to some county clerks who did the right thing and were able to dig up these records. But
y'all, this is I have to admit, I'm sorry. I got to disagree. This is not boring. This is actually quite entertaining that she's believing this. Like, man, she verified this information. How did she verify this information? Again, she has a horrible track record. Finish up. I don't even care anymore.
You name it, this man has lived it throughout the last 35 years, okay? Fast forward to May of 2025, May of this year.
Oh, my
Harry
gosh.
Myers, who now has a new name, by the way, which I'm not saying, but he is finally released from this 35-year military-grade NDA. So what does this now 56-year-old decide to do? He decides that he's going to confront his past. He wants answers, okay? He wants to know why he was never protected. He wants to know if the FBI had been informed, and if so, which they were supposed to be, why they didn't do their job. Why didn't they protect Harry? He was working for the military, and he did his job. He makes up his mind that he's going to deal with this in person. He is going to travel from his home in Washington back down to the very base where this all began, right? To Fort Huachuca, in Arizona. He's going to revisit the past. He's going to get these answers. He books himself to stay in a hotel on the base, a military hotel known as Candlewood Suites. And
I guarantee you, this chick is about to say the Egyptians walked with their camels and their sandals. Y'all, this woman, thank you, man. There's 1,400 of y'all watching of the best live chat on the internet. Thank y'all so much. Y'all, this is ridiculous. How is this not a movie script that she's reading? Come on, y'all. Better Call Saul, Queen of the South. Come on.
this is on the evening of September 8th. I want you to remember that, okay?
The Egyptians.
He's been so thorough. He has sent me timestamps, bookings, reservations, went through his call logs. I was like, I want you to.
There's no way
everything happened. So
there is no way you did all that before since last night. There's no way. And you got all that information. You don't show us anything. It's just a big trust me, bro. Come on, Cantifa. Come on.
To the Candlewood Suites at approximately on September 8th. 5:37 p.m. Checks into the hotel, and you can imagine he's a person that pays a lot of attention to his surroundings, right? When the cartels are after you and your family, and you are compelled to change your name, you pay attention to your surroundings to see if anybody looks shady. What he knows
Everybody looks shady.
Somebody who is special forces in the lobby. He said, you just know when you're dealing with a special forces guy, and he is in the lobby. And a young woman, comes down thereafter. That young woman, who at the time he did not recognize, is with him. They kind of fluff around in the lobby while he's checking in. He's on the phone with his wife. And thereafter.
Okay, I figured it out, y'all. I figured it out. Netflix just bought Paramount and Warner Brothers, right? Candace is auditioning to be a screenwriter, showrunner for something that Netflix is going to roll out in 2027. That's it. That's what she's doing. I figured it out, y'all. I done cracked the code. This is it. She's premiering her wild television show. I don't know what it's going to be called, but it's going to be like it's going to be something crazy.
The two of them get into a green pickup truck.
What about the rental car?
Okay.
I need the rental car to show up.
Now it's September 9th. He wakes up at around 5:30 a.m. in the morning because he wants to see the sunrise. He says that he then fails at finding the Army Criminal Investigations Department. So he drives off base, just a little ways off base, to get some coffee in Sierra Vista. While getting that coffee, he runs into some soldiers. Again, this is just all God at this point, who happen to be wearing 10th Mountain Division patches. And he's like, that's my old unit. What's going on here? Like that, he thinks his unit's gone. Nothing's going on with this unit for a long time. That it's been torn apart, or I don't know what the military expression is for that. He strikes up a conversation with these young guys, and they tell him, "Oh no, the old Joint Task Force 6 is now being continued, and it's known as JTF, Joint Task Force Southern Border." Now, for those of you who are like me who don't know, like literally what it sounds like, Joint Task Force, meaning like you can get the Army, Navy, everybody kind of working together on something. And they're like, yeah, it's now JTF Southern Border. And they give him directions of how he can actually get to the new command center. They tell them that they're actually currently borrowing a building down there. And he tells me that there would have been no other way he would have discovered where it was. So his intention was to go to Army CID. Now he's like, wow, I can go directly to the actual JTF 6, which is now being continued, and get some answers. What luck. It is now around 7:37 a.m. when he enters the new or temporary JTF headquarters. And he sees two guys, and he's pretty impressed. He's like, whoa, these are, again, military term, E4, E5s. He told me that means that they're lieutenant colonels, and they are the ones that are checking him in. He happens to walk in at the exact time that they are concluding a meeting, and he is kind of even more impressed because he sees about 12 lieutenant colonels. He tells me, you do not see that many people, that many E4s, E5s, E6s. Please, military guys, forgive me for me not knowing what the proper vernacular. But he just goes, well, what's going on? He's like, you don't see this unless you're at the Pentagon or you're at the White House. You just don't see this many high up the food chain lieutenant colonels. He's going, man, this is a pretty important meeting. And then he sees three men walk out, one of which is the person he identifies as the person that's the center of the action, right? He said you could just tell this is the most important person. And he has gray hair. He's got glasses.
I have gray hair.
I believe he said that he's about 5'10". And at this point, he sees that the person that is with him, and he said, certain that the person that is with him is Brian Harpole. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's about to get even more interesting. So, and again, I'm going to say allegedly because I wasn't there, but I have spoken to this guy, and I very much trust what he is saying. I think he is very credible. Okay. So he sees Brian Harpole come out, this older guy, and that he has...
This is the same Candace Owens. Maybe editor Jason can edit it in that she verified that 920 email, and she said she had that for weeks. Remember that. The 920 email, she said she had spent weeks verifying all that, but didn't know that it was her lawyer's office that was the 920 address, 920 North King. So because you had weeks to research that, and you fumble the ball that badly, I'm supposed to believe that you had hours to research this, and you're right. Okay. I got a reason why I don't think TPUSA is going to sue her. I'll tell you later.
What then happens is first the guys that are checking him in are friendly. He explains to them, yeah, this is what happened to me. I just want to speak to somebody. They're like, yeah, let me help you. And all of a sudden, after Brian, who he believes to be Brian Harpole, who he's not obviously recognized.
So remember, this is this man, her source is telling her this. There's no evidence to this fact whatsoever. And let's just keep it 100. Brian Harpole looks like I've seen 10 Brian Harpoles in my town today, but I digress.
At that time, he would not have known that was Brian Harpole, but he remembers him, obviously, because then the biggest political assassination since JFK happens. Suddenly, somebody hits the panic button, and 2 captains come out, and they escort him out of the building, and they begin what becomes a 7-hour interrogation. Okay, they think he's a spy. How did you rumble this meeting? How did you know this meeting was taking place? He's being asked a bunch of questions. They're putting pressure on him. They're gaslighting him. I actually want to, if you give me a second, I want to read exactly what he messaged me about what took place.
Why didn't you read this all before? Why don't you show us? Oh my gosh. Y'all, this woman is serious, y'all. Cantifa, y'all, this is y'all girl, man. We are not here. We are here to mock her. That's it.
Incredible. It's actually just incredible how he describes what their strategy here of attempting to gaslight him into believing that he was a spy or that he was working for somebody. And he's like, no, I'm just here over an incident that happened 35 years ago. I'm trying to get answers regarding it, and they're putting pressure on him. I'm going to write this verbatim. He says he's being interrogated. He is, quote, being accused of being a bomb threat because I was special forces in the military, EOD in the military. They then attempted to try to gaslight me to see if they could angle an accusation of me being a threat to others or myself. When all of that fell flat, they then conferenced with base commander after I assumed they verified that I was not there to spy on that particular meeting. They decided it was okay to send me off post. That's when I drove a Tucson. I got a room. The next morning, I turned in my rental car. I got on a plane back home, and I had to stop in Salt Lake. Upon landing and turning on the phone, my wife is telling me about Charlie Kirk. And again, this was just a coincidence. I happened to be in the airport at the time that you are talking about all of those strange flights that were taking place there. I did not notice anything helpful, other than the fact that the airport was not very crowded. So after 7 hours, he explains to me that they were going to, they debated holding him for 48 hours for this perceived, perhaps maybe bomb threat spy thing that's happening. And he's thinking, can you imagine this? They're paranoid, but he's paranoid and thinking, oh my gosh, this is more like Sinaloa cartel stuff. And I'm being treated like this because I've wanted to speak out about this story for 35 years. Both of them are wrong. Okay. Both of them are wrong. This really is just a coincidence. And adding to
Isn't it funny that Candace can now determine when something is a coincidence? She can say it's a coincidence, but anything else that somebody else might say is a coincidence, they can't do that. This is weird.
The fact, and that he got the commander's name. That obviously that questioned him for this long. He says this was the guy that was in charge, the commander. And he said he was approximately 36 years old. He had brown hair, the one I'm talking about that was leading the charge on asking him all the questions and interrogating him, and that his name was Captain Neff. I'm going. Now, I have the same question that you have because I don't.
I don't have any questions because I'm not insane. Y'all. Just let it go, Jason. Just let it go.
That's And I never even questioned this, whether or not it's potential that Blake Neff has military connections as well. Like, I guess that kind of like, I just thought this is the producer of Charlie Kirk show, but it is interesting that somebody, and this would be a brother, cousin, I don't know, this is the person that interrogated him. And eventually, he says, was a person that had a heart and realized that he was not a part of any spy network, and eventually escorted him off of the base and onto his way. That's a lot of coincidence for me. Now, he says to me, communicated this to me very clearly. So, Candace,
So this secret base that nobody would know is there, it's got all these big wigs there, and this dude just literally walked in the building, walked up to the front desk, and is glad handing and shaking people's hands, and I'm supposed to believe that? Okay, I got you. I got it. I got my orders. I'm supposed to believe this. There you go.
I know how these meetings work. These are the meetings that are had ahead of an operation. Like when an operation is being confirmed, you have these final meetings, and they involve all of the higher ups, and you are trying to do this in a very isolated location where, you know, people are not going to accidentally happen upon you because they've got something to say about what happened 35 years ago. And that is what he happened upon. And I don't know what to make of this information other than he feels that he then recognized these people. He feels certain that he recognized these people in the days following Charlie Kirk's assassination, when a bunch of people are doing Fox News, and obviously
I don't even know what to do anymore, y'all. This woman don't make any sense at all. This is ridiculous, man. Like, she really believes this. I'm honestly a little bit taken aback that she believes this. Again, man, you know what? How about this one? Maybe it's all true. If she had a track record that was at least commendable, at least gets a participation trophy, then maybe I would be like, okay, maybe she's on to something. But every single time she comes up with a lead, it is a nothing burger or is proven wrong. And she doubles and triples and quadruples down only because she's too prideful and arrogant to say, yeah, I was wrong. I got that wrong. Because you know why? Y'all do know why you do know why she's talking about this, right? Do y'all know why she's talking about this? In the chat, real quick. Are you aware why she's talking about this? I'm going to tell you exactly why she's talking about this. Now, I don't know this emphatically, but based upon information and my own belief, I'm going to tell you exactly why she's doing this. Well, yeah, she's evil. There's definitely no question there. No argument, no lie whatsoever. I'm going to tell you exactly why I believe she's doing this. And again, it's based upon my information and belief. All questions are valid. That's how Candace treats it. So if I have a question about something, then it is a valid question, no matter what. So I believe the reason she is doing this, let me pull the video up. I believe the reason she's doing this is very simple. It's right in front of us. Now, sadly, today, I did not wear my proper uniform, but I'll bring it up nonetheless. This is why I believe she's doing this. Real quick, bada boom, bada bing. Y'all remember this video? Oh, needless to say, it's the infamous maroon shirt debacle. She got so torqued off on Instagram about that. She was mad and torqued off on X about that. She was fit to be tied about that topic because people were making fun of her about the maroon shirts. And I think it's the only thing right that we do make fun of her, right? And because of that, the reason she's doing this today is to justify the maroon shirts. She's doing all of this to say that these people that were at the event were wearing maroon. She's trying to get that military involvement into the mix so she could say that they were into the mix. So she could say they are the ones that the whatever Mountain Team 10, whatever, they're the ones that did the deed of deleting Charlie Kirk. That's where she's trying to go. I guarantee that's where she's going. Real quick, I apologize. Green Hearts in chat if you can hear.
Obviously, then we've got a massive event at a stadium, and everybody is in front of the camera eulogizing him. He feels confident that he recognizes these people, and that needs to be shared. He's willing to tell a story.
When?
Like I said, I have verified. He has sent me so many
When?
documents, everything from his high school graduation certificate to his military documents to the police records to everything that he's speaking about.
That person will never be on camera.
DAs, judges, things that he's been in court with fighting just to get out his story of what happened 35 years ago when he did the right thing.
There is no way in the world that guy, she's ever going to do that interview. There's no way. There's going to be 1,000, 1,500 million excuses, but none of them are going to be this man is sitting in her studio and her interviewing him or whatever.
And boy, does he have some luck. Boy, does he have some luck that he goes from one government conspiracy to what he now believes he stumbled upon, which would be another government conspiracy. Okay. He said that this commander, Neff, by the way, was the commander of force protection. Best he could tell, he did not get the first name. He did get an incident number, which I should have had prepared for you, but I can find it.
Lord knows you could have.
In our chat, because he sent me that too. He said there would have been no record for this if they didn't swarm me as if there was a bomb threat, because now, of course, there is an actual incident report, and he believes that this can be FOIA requested.
FOIA made a shout out.
Report number, if you will bear with me, I'm going to read that to you all.
You know what else could be FOIA, Candace? Proof that you told your local law enforcement about your alleged attack on your life. That could be FOIA as well.
Really the whole world to investigate. It is 8611.
Why are you doing this?
2025 MPC 446.
Why are you doing that?
Report number that was given to him by this Captain Commander Neff. And like I said, he has given me I could have just put up documents upon documents certifying that he was there, certifying that this happened, whether or not his descriptions and whether or not the people that he thinks he actually saw at this base, I don't know. What I will say is that something that I could easily have done was to see whether or not I asked him, did you see Dan Flood? No. Well, that checks out because Dan Flood was with Charlie in Korea. And I am wondering about that. Like, why would you want to go to Japan a day before you have a college campus event, right? You have Charlie on the 5th and on the 6th of September. He is in Korea doing an event.
That's interesting. You know what? Why didn't she go ahead and get the report and share it? Why are you reading out the report number and telling people to ask for it and FOIA request it? Why aren't you just showing it, Candace? Yo, this woman is insufferable. Bless her heart. Like this is ridiculous. I'm sorry.
He's in Japan and he is on CNN News Japan speaking. And so, yeah, like on the 8th, if that's when he left, maybe he left on the 9th, you got a 12-hour flight back home. And I have questions, and somebody out there knows something, and I don't know what to say.
Nobody cares
anymore. This feels right. This feels right to me. This feels to me, as we were speaking about yesterday, about global trafficking and cartels and the government involved in this somehow and implicated in this somehow in ways that we don't quite understand, but that we know involves the highest possible levels of corruption, that this feels right. And like I said, he is not hiding. He is done hiding. He has been silenced for 35 years. running from his life and being gaslit about that.
If he's not hiding, then he should be on your show right now, because you've already done all your research. He would be on your show right now. I would think that would, if you're saying he's not hiding, then he should be willing to corroborate what you just said, what you spent better part of 20 minutes to read.
The same way that I am being gaslit about that. I have a very terrifying update for you regarding people that have been trying to assassinate me. And speaking to him was...
Did he meet the Gandari?
I guess like emotionally qualifying, because exactly what he's been going through, I've been going through. He didn't have the platform to be able to get his name out. And I said to him, like, do you want to come out? And he said, yeah, I've been silent for 35 years.
Let's go.
He said, I watch your stuff and I can't believe that you got this email. And I said to him, the chances of me seeing this were basically slim to none. And it was the first email that was in my box, and I just called you. And I feel God moving in that. And despite just the utterly demonic and satanic action and the level of collusion that had to take place for 9/10 to happen, I do also know, as I have always known spiritually, that they wouldn't get away with it. And I think Charlie, whatever vision he had, in which he knew his life would be short, and which he knew that I would not let this go, because I somehow feel tied to it, and we're seeing more and more every day that somehow I am tied to this. I think that this is God operating. I really do. I think, bless this man. Thank you so much for your service to this country. I know that he said he would love to meet Ian Carroll, and I guess he's watching his stuff, and I will obviously make that happen and much more in the coming days. I don't expect the feds to reach out. I don't expect them to be interested in this angle or this potential meeting.
Because you're literally just sitting here telling a story. You've not given any proof or evidence for people to say, oh, wait, yeah, this is kind of serious. Like, give us some evidence. There's nothing concrete. This is just smoke and mirrors.
And I think they probably already knew about. I do hope, though, that somebody else saw something, and somebody knows the quickest way to FOIA request that stuff. Somebody knows how to.
She ain't learned her lesson yet.
I've given you the dates. I've given you the times. He has given so much more.
She still ain't learned.
I know. I just thank God that I saw that email. We're going to pause there. And if you guys know anything, obviously email us at moretips@CandaceOwens.com.
She ain't learned no lesson at all. There's no way she done learn her lesson. She just keeps on doing it, man. Like I'm just going to keep it on. I don't even care. I'm just going to keep on doing it. Yo, thank you so very much, man. We got the best live chat on the internet. Thank you so much. What does he say here? Jason, you know her fans can't read. Stop it. MT, don't get in trouble again. Thank you for the $2 super. We don't want to put you in 0-second timeout again a second day in a row now. Come on now. Shout out to Haley with the 5, says this. She's got a hit out on her, yet she's praying for a smoking gun on an extra holy day? Yeah, that makes sense. You know what? I didn't even pay attention. I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. Shout out. That's a great observation. You're not praying that they get found? You're not praying that the FBI text message gets read? Shout out for sure. Thank you. With the 5 says this. Janae, 2004. Maybe she thinks somehow her holy revelation will make her a saint one day. That's a very keen. I don't know, man. I just want Candace to go away. I want her to stop. But thank you so much for the 5 for sure. Captain Jack's up in here says this. Every sex offender and murderer I interviewed sat with their hands covered, their private parts, as a subconscious way of protecting themselves. And Captain Jack's is a former law enforcement agent. Thank you so much. That's odd how she's sitting like that. I've never really paid attention to how she sits, but that's very interesting. Thank you. What's MT coming back around here? She's a weapon of mass tardation. I'm about to put you in 0-second timeout. You got to go. You got to go. All right. She did not do it. I thought she was going to do the valves. I thought the valves were going to show up. I just knew that was going to happen, especially when they're talking about flooding the tunnel. I just knew that they're going to talk about valves. I knew it, but I was wrong. She's going to tie it to the boat strikes. Watch. Oh, really? You think so? MC with the 2, that would be very interesting. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Again, there'd be nothing concrete, but it'd be something entertaining. I think Tatum's Substack was written by Candace for him to post. It sounds like the way she speaks. By the way, is his wife upset with his obsession with Candace? I don't know. And I did hear that as well today, that a lot of people think that Candace wrote his Substack and even wrote the reply to Leah, which I think there's merit to that. Thank you so much for that. With the 2, what does Carrie say? E4 is a corporal and E5 is a sergeant. Yeah, and they're just out there just chilling, right? Just out there just yucking it up and people just walking up on them. Okay, I guess that makes sense. With the 2, says Jane Lynn right here, 10th Mountain Base out of New York, not Arizona. Really? See, now hold on, because I know somebody, I'm sure, if I go to Twitter, matter of fact, on Thursday, we got Green Beret nap time. On Friday, please forgive me, Green Beret nap time is coming on. I'm going to add this to my questions to ask. I'm going to ask him about that. So you're saying that the 10th Mountain is based in New York, not Arizona. That's crazy. Interesting. I want to see that. I'm going to look into that for sure. Brandy says this with the 5. Thank you. How did he get on base and to that close to everyone? Just asking questions. I don't know. Which, Candace ain't gonna ask that question. Like, you just ran into some people that told you where the top secret base is, with all of these big wigs happen to be there, and you just walk in. Okay. All right. Maybe so. Not even at the gate, though. Not even that, like, get stopped at the gate. But you're inside the building. That's an excellent question. Amethyst with the 5 says this: who's in her ear? Maybe she's using Scamelot's Bluetooth earring after all. She doesn't need them anymore, and George is gaslighting her. Just saying. I don't know who it is, but they're setting her up for the wet up for sure. Let's go. Thank you so much. Captain Jax came in. The tipster was discharged on a psychological discharge, and she is taking all of this as fact. What an absolute idiot. I don't know where to go. I don't know, but thank you so much for the 5. And what does Stephanie say here with the 10? Y'all, this is not a smart person. All she knows how to do is regurgitate stuff she's told, and that's on Tucson. There you go. Yeah, Tucson. Why did she say that? It's called Tucson. And Survivor with the 10, you are a traitor. You have told our military in the past to defy orders, which is a good point. Thank you. I forgot about that. I hope Trump looks at you as a reprobate that you are. How dare you defy the United States of America? Thank you so much for the 10. I'm right there with you. You make a great point. Totally forgot about that. Man, great. And you have betrayed our country and our president. No mercy for you because you know what you're doing. No receipts yet. And there's not going to be any. That's the thing. We're not going to get any receipts. Thank you for that very kind 10 as well. Ruben coming up in here. And E4 and the E5 are not higher ups. E stands for enlisted. Lieutenant Colonel, like she's talking about, are officers, a.k.a. O5s. Okay, I might have to go back and listen to what she said. So she was saying, so what is an E4 and an E5? What are they? They're just enlisted. Do they have any kind of rank, Master Chief or something? Shout out to Halo. Okay. No, that's great. Thank you so much for that 5. And then Tracy says this: the world is full of strange facts. How does this all move back to Charlie? I don't know. And why did Charlie have to go to go to Asia for them to do this? That's crazy work. That's just diabolical ignorance. I hope there is a Colonel Neff so that they can nail her. Thank you so much, Amy. Like, why in the world? She's just taking a random person's conversation. And this person is hitting all these. He saw Harpo there. He's got Neff there. He sees the person in the lobby and he's special forces. And all of this stuff just so happened. And this guy is the one that told you this. It's like a living, breathing 920 email. And she wants me to believe she verified that. No, you didn't. Who remembers Looney Tunes? Which character represents her the best? I say is Foghorn Leghorn. I think it's Yosemite Sam, But I'll give you Foghorn Leghorn for sure. Thank you, Amethyst, for the 5. And coming back around, Annie K with the $2 Canadian says this. She's sellout. How cheap is her dignity, bruh? I mean, it's crazy work. Like, she's giving this up for a text message and an email. She'll give up her whole position. She wants us poor folk to do her dirty FOIA work. Get the heck out of here. Yo, that's correct. Thank you with the 5. She said, look, y'all go ahead and do that FOIA for me and send it to me. You know people in Cantifa are going to send it to her. Shout out. Yo, shout out to Paramount Tactical. What's going on? Thank you so much, man. We just got done watching part of your video. You were crushing it. We need to make this happen. Thank you for the $50 super for sure. And by the way, I appreciate what you're doing. We're going to try to come by there at 8 o'clock tonight. Thank you so much. Y'all put Paramount in the chat. Absolutely. And mods, can you please make sure his link is in the chat for everybody to see as well? What do we have here? Rich says this. Maybe she can get at Epstein files and solve them. At this point in the game, I don't think Candace I don't think she realizes that she's being punked. I'm going to say it again. That tip line is her biggest op. That's her biggest op. It's the MVP of the show and it's the main villain. I don't know how that works, but it's reality. The fact that she's reading these things as if they're verified is crazy work. The poster child for you can make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. I really want to use that Kevin Samuels clip. Curtis comes up in here again with the 20. E4 is above a private first class. E5 is a lowest sergeant rank. So why is he making it sound like these are like, it doesn't sound like these enlisted men, the E4 and the E5, are really that big a deal. It don't sound like that's a big deal to me. So why is he making it sound like that unless he's trying to trick her? Walker, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Shout out, thank you so much, JM, for this. She's scared to lose her base when Neff and the team present facts on the 15th. Oh, that's a good point. And trying to discredit them now as a corrupt secret service force. Her base will believe it as further proof TPOSA is lying. Very good observation. I like that. That's, you know what? That makes perfect sense. Oh, she didn't say he just saw somebody and his name was Captain Neff. Get out of here. Get out of this place. Hate to say this, but there are a lot of disturbed, paranoid people out there. Reports or call documents don't make things true. Candace is either ignorant or banking on her followers' ignorance. No, I think it's definitely she's banking on their ignorance. Because at this point in the game, you've given nothing that even rhymes with receipts, which, by the way, I don't know what would rhyme with receipt. Nothing that sounds like receipt at all. Evidence. I don't know. Evidence either. Fence. Nothing. Rhymes with rhyme. None of it. Let's keep this going. Candace is Pepe Le Pew, her research things. Thank you for the $2 super, and I appreciate that. That was a good laugh. I like that. Rochelle, the daughter of Rabbi Shmuley, Candy made number one enemy. Thank you so much, Goat Hub. Yeah, we're going to be talking on tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to having a conversation with her. Candace is back from her commercial break. Let's get her done. Whew, I'm tired already.
Chat, I'm obviously very new to military terms. So you guys are saying it should be E5s and E6s. And he said that these are lieutenant colonels and colonels and that it was a big brass meeting. He estimates that there were 12 to 13 lieutenant colonels that were in that meeting that he stumbled upon.
It's funny, the chat is correcting her and is morphing, changing, and augmenting the story that the witness gave her. Oh my gosh, deceit rhymes with receipt. You're right. I totally missed that. Oh my gosh. So the person gave her information that's wrong, and she started augmenting and changing it based upon the email from people that weren't there. Y'all make that make sense.
And yeah, that's that. I'm going to leave that there.
Mm-hmm.
On that same note, though, however, I have been I don't even, I have no words, and I'm going to try to find them here for emails I did not expect to receive yesterday. Right after I spoke with him, I kept continuing on this in my tips inbox. And obviously, yesterday we spoke about this Pierre in Scottsdale, and I had mentioned that he had a partner. Pierre Falcone had a partner named Arkady Gaydemock. Didn't expect that to be relevant to anything, but they were both involved in Angola Gate, which was global trafficking at the highest levels of government. But this Arkady Gaydemock didn't show up for his court hearing, and he just was sentenced in absence for trafficking weapons, et cetera, et cetera. I explained to you that he was born in Russia, and then when Israel became a nation, he was first over there. He was also factually, and you can see in this article, a French intelligence agent. Okay. Why am I bringing up Gaydemock?
I don't know.
Well,
we don't know
after
either.
This episode, I had asked
if you don't know, Candace, how in the world do you think we're going to know? We are all lost. We are all out here looking at each other like, where are we going? Are we there yet? I don't know. I'm looking for the deceit receipts. Y'all, girl, go somewhere and sit your butt down.
Anybody had anything or knew anything about, Turning Point potentially working with this Pierre person. Oh, gosh. I was shocked when a flutter of emails came in from people saying that they believed Gaydemock was living in Nashville, that he moved here sometime in June.
I quit.
And when I say a flurry of emails that came in, there were 7 people, mostly men, who were certain that man, aged now, is working in Nashville using the name Jonathan Schmidt. They are certain, at the very least, that he is from Israel and that he is working for a company known as Root Brands under the guise of being a technology officer, and that he has brought in and secured jobs for Ukrainians. And again, this has all transpired since apparently June. Ukrainians who he alleges are running from the war. They say he was brought in by a businessman in town named Clay Thomas, and that one of the Ukrainians that is working with him, his name is Alex Smirnov. Now, I don't know what to say other than I am positively terrified. I don't know who to contact, considering the
police. Just call the police. You literally just read out a man's name in Nashville, putting a target on him. This is no longer serious, y'all. This woman is 100%. I know some people like to say like 1,000%, 1,000,000,000%. I don't know. But this is multiversal % insane. Like, you're just reading out people's names. Good gracious. Well, how does she not think she's going to get sued for this?
I've been telling them that there's an assassination attempt in coordination. I have said Israel, I have said France, and now I have dealt with, I have these emails, more credible information. And if it's incorrect, I'm happy to correct it. I reached out to Clay Thomas. I have reached out to Root Brands, and I have requested more information about this Russian-Israeli employee who is using the name Jonathan Schmidt and bringing in Ukrainians. And so instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to publicize this information in the hope that if you are a Tennessean and you live in Franklin and you live in Nashville and you are familiar with Root Brands and you have seen this man, and Skylar, I don't know if we have an aged photo of him, but we should try to find one. Please, first off, you should probably contact the authorities.
Why don't you do it?
I certainly will be doing that. I think my husband has already done that. I told him to do that this morning. I have definitively run that to the only office that has responded, and I think taken my threat, or has wanted to respond, I should say, to a threat that I've been saying about the French intelligence agencies working with Israel. And that is Tulsi Gabbard's office. I am doing everything that I can, but I am telling you that this is very scary. And if you are in Tennessee, anything If you know this Jonathan Schmidt and you've seen him around town,
Where's the
former real
proof?
estate agent, they said he was shopping for a home in the Brentwood area. If you have seen this individual anywhere in Nashville,
Wow.
for the love of God, please send us an email, moretips@CandaceOwens.com. And I am encouraging you to contact your authorities if you are hearing any sob stories from anyone
Wow.
about how they're coming in from Ukraine and that they're fleeing the war, okay? I think you should contact the authorities immediately. We don't need to have a presence of Ukrainians that are quote unquote fleeing the war in Tennessee. And, I trust the Tennesseans to get this done and to pay attention. And I want to
Yo.
say this, by the way, everywhere.
Okay, I gotta stop. Y'all, I gotta stop. Wow. She done doxed a whole people group. She said, we don't need y'all Ukrainians up here in Tennessee. Well, we don't want y'all in Georgia either. So y'all go and do what you got to do. Yo, she just said, hey, if you see this dude out here shopping at the Walmart, run up on him. Call the police on him because he's just a dude. He's just a dude. Now, granted, she has not shown y'all that she is even filed with the police. She tells you to call the police if you see this man at the doggone Starbucks ordering his triple fat latte with extra whip. If you see him there, call the police, but I ain't even called the police yet. Wow. How does she not get sued is going to be, it is a thing of wonder. I'm like, how is this even possible? I don't even understand. I might actually have to go ahead and I might have to just rage quit this one. I know I told you I wasn't going to do it no more. But I'm going to have to just rage quit it. Deceit rhymes with receipt. It fits her character. Yo, that's, wow. Yo, I'm not even trying to be funny. I really am like, wow, you just put all this man's business out here. His name is John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. Like, you don't know this. And being the fact that you have such a horrible track record, my gosh, you're putting, this is crazy. This is madness. I'm gonna finish. I'm not gonna rage quit. I'm not gonna rage quit. We're gonna finish this, y'all. We're gonna finish this. I just can't believe this. I'm like, I cannot believe what I'm looking at.
I've heard there's a major influx of Ukrainians, quote unquote, fleeing that are building up in Washington. That is something to be worried about, you guys. That is something to be very concerned about, okay? Because it is during wars where the most dangerous people are allowed into other countries under the guise of being refugees. That is how they take over other countries. And you need to keep your eyes and your ears peeled for how these Ukrainian, quote unquote, refugees are organizing. I don't think there's a reason for any.
And shout out to the fact, I know people have brought this up, like, wow. She says nothing about the Muslim Islamification of Michigan or the infiltration of Minnesota. I mean, that's a true happening. It's not any weird tip lines or anything like that. It's a real happening. But she can't say anything about what's going on in New York, but she can come up with this weird crafted story. Wow, I've never prayed that God would sue somebody, that it would send people to sue her as much as I'm praying now. Wow, this is amazing. I don't know how does she do this on a daily basis?
Israeli intelligence and French intelligence officers to be here in Nashville. So again, if you know something, please email us, moretips@CandaceOwens.com. If you work for the local FBI department, you should have been hearing from us, but if you would like to directly contact us, please email us. We will be looking out. And like I said, Root Brands apparently is who has hired this individual under the guise of working under a technology officer. He's supposed to be a billionaire, so why would he be working at all if this is the correct individual?
See, that's what I'm saying. You don't know that.
Named Jonathan Schmidt.
That poor schmuck is trying to take care of his family. That poor dude is trying to take care. Yo. Because that name is not really that, it's not like John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, right? I mean, that name could be kind of common. I wouldn't be surprised if there was 3, maybe even 5 of those names in Tennessee in that area. I would not be surprised. And she said Franklin as well as Nashville, so there's probably more. And these poor schmucks are out here just trying to work. Dude over here working at doggone Quick Trip. This dude over here trying to go to school, and they got this name, and now they got your bozos attacking them. Wow. Y'all, this is amazing.
Israeli who should be living in Tel Aviv. And I do not believe he's legally allowed to be in this country. So at the very least, perhaps also if you're watching this and you are an ICE agent or a Border Patrol agent, please get involved. I will have more for you hopefully in the coming days.
Of course.
This is very scary, very scary. And I was always telling the truth about the coordination of an assassination attempt, which involved Israel and French intelligence agencies.
But you never showed us anything. You're literally just saying it. There's no evidence.
On that note, I am
looking up at the sky,
obviously taking a lot of personal risk to get out the truth to you guys pertaining to what is happening to Charlie Kirk. One of the easiest things in the world is to be a critic of Candace Owens and a part of the people who do not have the courage to prod this federal narrative. Among those, of course, being Tim Pool, who has now dedicated hours and now is trying to signal to the public that I don't have security, which is untrue, but he is trying to get me harmed. I don't know what I've ever done to Tim Pool to deserve that at all, but Tim Pool has had some very choice words for me.
Yeah, Tim Pool gave her that work. Hey, real quick, I do apologize, y'all. I need y'all to just please be gracious to me. I did not see Paramount I did not see this. I'm so sorry, brother. Paramount Tactical said, look, I sent you an invite to tonight's live stream. Yes, and I will be there. So we will be ending the stream shortly, and we'll be hopping on with him tonight. Yes, thank you so much. I did not see that. I apologize. Thank you to the mods who have been texting me. You say I ain't got my glasses on. Y'all be merciful to your boy. And plus, this woman's she's stressing me out, man. She making my eyelids tired.
Which were trending last night on X. And I would like to share that to you because he thinks it's an act of bravery to attack me in this moment. So take a listen to Tim Pool.
Candace Owens is a f***ing evil scumbag. She is a degenerate. She is burning everything down, and she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you told me? She has no security. She doesn't deal with the shit we have to deal with. She's a piece of shit. She's making everyone else suffer. And all of these conservatives out there that send me these messages have no balls to call her out. More and more people have started doing it. They send me these messages. Good for you, Tim. Good for you, Tim. I wasn't the first person to do it. I'm not going to take credit for that. But don't DM me like I did something for you as you cower, as you cower, scared that she'll put you on her thumbnail and claim you benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination, which he's doing to me right now.
Yeah, that was the...
I'm done with these people.
She has security, just not on the level of you.
Oh, yeah, the one fat guy you mentioned with no wall and no barrier in a suburban neighborhood with neighbors. She doesn't give two no one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told me you went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy, and she doesn't give a about her security. Meanwhile, I get bullets fired at my property, and I have to go live in the middle of nowhere. And I got strangers coming up to my house in Maryland, breaking in. I got people showing up and beating up the residents who try to live there. How the am I even supposed to sell this property?
So there's a lot to unpack there. First and foremost, what you are seeing right there is on a display of testosterone. Men that speak to women like this are not tough guys, okay? What you are seeing is actually a display of estrogen.
Never mind. Just let it go, Jason.
Thing he is doing there is somebody who is not a man. He is not tough, and he would never dare to speak to a man like that, right? People that find that very easy. Secondly, Tim Pool doesn't even have the intellect to understand that we put him in the thumbnail because he accused me in a full episode with Milo Yiannopoulos, which we showed and contextualized, of being someone who benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination. So he thinks he's being accused. No, you accused me of that in like a actually, I think it was 2-hour episode with Milo Yiannopoulos, in which Milo defended me and explained that I am not to blame for the lame excuses that the feds have given us regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination. And that if we do need to have some spiritual searching in terms of what the Republican Party has become, that the time for that is now. Okay. So this little, and I really like, he's a small person for this, a very small person who is also theatrical, Timothy Smollett, who pretends every year like people are trying to kill him. He's a chronic fence sitter, okay? Pretending like he is braving the wilderness for being what? The 110,000th person who's making a video about Candace Owens in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination. He thinks he's pioneering that. Are you out of your mind? It's only the safest thing you can do. What's next? Is he going to make a video and call Kanye West anti-Semitic? Like that's what he's pioneering right now. Oh my gosh, so original. Like, is he going to call Donald Trump evil in 2016? This is the storm that he's braving, is jumping on the side of what everyone else is doing. He is a fundamentally weak man for what he did there. He should apologize. He won't. I don't care what happens to his platform. He's now essentially trying out, because he's under financial pressure. He's trying out for a Zionist to pay him, and they will.
Wow.
They will cut him a check. And I hope it happens for you, Tim. I hope it makes you happy. But to do that to someone who has never done anything to you other than disagree with you about the Charlie Kirk narrative, I have not focused my content on you. And anytime your name has come up, it has been because you have explicitly been attacking me. You are a coward. You are less than a man. Okay? You are behaving, your type right there is like a person who's having financial issues and yet decides to go out and put 100K on a poker game. And when he loses and is a further 100K in the hole, comes back home and beats his wife and kids and thinks he's a tough guy. That's how you're acting right now. Wow. I'm not your wife. I'm not your kids. Get your affairs in order and stop blaming me, because I'm actually traversing down the path that hasn't been traveled by standing up and saying that something corrupt happened and Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And I don't care about your midterms. Okay. I don't care about your next year midterms and whether or not the Republican Party is united. Okay. Because I don't want to stand next to people that would cover up Charlie Kirk's assassination. I hope that I have made my point perfectly clear. We'll be back after a message from some of our sponsors.
Y'all, I don't.
Right, you guys,
I'm really trying my best, y'all. This one, I don't know how. I do believe that she's spiraling, and I do believe that each started last Monday. Each episode has gotten worse. This one, I don't know how she's going to top this. This is gross. Man, again, I don't know all the ins and outs about her and Tim Pool, but my goodness, her reading off that man's information and saying, I don't know, we might be wrong. Yo, that's crazy. And thank you so much. Bettina says this. At least you didn't rage quit. Thank you for the $2 super for sure. What else we got here? Thank you, 1407. With the 15 comes in and says this. This is insane. This is arcane garbage. He's in Wikipedia. Let me see. Oh, okay. Arkady Gadamek. He's in Wikipedia. I'll look him up. This is bonkers. I'm just going to say that like that. I've never seen something so crazy. Thank you so much again, 1407, for this. With a 30, she says this. She's been pranked. Arkady Gadamek. Look him up. He's literally the pick from this. Hold on. Okay. Okay. I got you. I think I know what you're telling me to do. I'm going to try to be obedient because y'all be getting on me when I don't do right. If this is the person. All right. And you're saying Arkady. And you say look it up in Wikipedia. Like this how y'all know this how you know my show is not recorded. Okay. Hold it. Hold it. Hold up. Okay, so who is this guy supposed to be? Oh, hold on. We got to clear this out. Clear this out, Jason. Hold on. All right, this is Arkady Gaydamak. His name followed East Slavic name because of da-da-da-da. He's a Russian. Da-da-da-da. All right, so this is the guy that she's saying is walking around Tennessee looking for work. That is crazy work. Hold on, let me look on his website real quick. All right, his link is broken. Okay. Wow. I'm trying to see, just trying to scan through, see if he says anything about living in the United States. So we're saying that this person that she was showing, is this the guy? Wow. She was making me tired, y'all. I ain't gonna even lie. She make your boy's eyelids just like feel pain. Oh, wow. Please don't y'all, did she get punked again? Stop it. Please. I gotta get done with this show so we can jump over to Paramount Tactical tonight. Yo, did she get punked again? I really, hold on, man. Y'all, come on. Are we for real? Are we? I'm gonna need somebody to double, triple our homework, double check our homework. Thank you so much for that. I'm gonna have to go and check that out. Wow, thank you so much. Radiant with the 5 says she's falsely accusing people. She won't even say allegedly. Right. Like she's just literally saying this person is doing something nefarious. The man might just, again, I don't know what the Ukrainian angle was, but these people just minding their own business. Yo, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the 20. Says this. She wanted to be a big player in politics. She hitched her wagon to Charlie Starr, then got kicked out of everything, no lie detected there, locked out of Charlie's life, and ignored by Trump admin. She's burning everything down to prove her influence. Man, that's a keen observation. You right on the money. All right, thank you so much for that. Let's see. Woo, this is a good one. Brian Harpo. You know what? I did forget that. Brian Harpo was in Asia because he was telling a story about how he was eating sushi with Charlie Kirk. That is a lie that she told. He was in Asia, not in wherever this guy was with the secret mountain team. I cannot wait to get on Twitter tonight. She had better, thank you very much for that. Thank you for that $2. She had better hope someone doesn't run up and make a citizen's arrest that goes wrong in her name. Right. That would be, oh my gosh, how terrible would that be? That man is over there just trying to mind his own business. Tim doesn't know you can't engage a narcissist. Thank you for that $2 super. Tim was just angry. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how they're going to. Well, I don't think there's any way to work that out. Let me say it like that. Shout out Carrie with the 2 says this. I bet she felt this exact same way about Charlie. Yep. What about her own husband, though? Thank you so much for the 2 as well. You don't want to stand next to her either. Right. Nobody wants to stand next to you. You are not that important, baby. Amy says this with the 10. Commander Neff is a satanic character in 3 movies of The Omen. Don't you please stop. Because I was looking up the name, whatever his name was, Harry Myers. I was looking that name up. Please don't tell me that I should have been looking at Commander Neff. I was looking to see if they were like comic book character names. Wow. Y'all, come on. She going to be grazing just like Nebuchadnezzar. Thank you so much, Amethyst. And you are right. Man, she's, goodness gracious. I just can't believe she just read that man's name out. That man getting text messages right now like, hey, did you know Candace has called you out? Terry says this with the 5. If the Dems win the White House in 2028, they will deplatform her and silence her. Sure, the Republicans losing doesn't matter. She's a moron. I mean, come on. I think, sadly, I think she's always been a leftist. That's my argument. So she was cosplaying as a Republican GOP right. She's actually I think they're going to welcome her with open arms if they would, but God have mercy on us. Thank you so much for the 10. Cindy says this, Candy made X post accusing Tim's brother is a pew-pewer of his property. Tim is livid. See? Here, let's finish this up because I got this feeling we got an hour and I can get some, I will be jumping on with Tactical, Paramount Tactical shortly. Hold on one second, I lost audio. Some reason or another, when I switch between screens, I lose audio, and I don't want to do that, of course. We'll try again. Green hearts in the chat. When you can hear, let's go.
Like to support our work, obviously you can head to CandaceOwens.com. Hope you guys enjoy that. Signed copies of that are only available. It was kind of freezing, but now it's not. Alyssa writes, Candace, you are teaching the world a new form of investigative journalism that it has never seen. You are impacting history in front of our eyes.
Oh my gosh. If that's what, y'all, every journalist from James Jonah Jameson on is rolling over in his or her grave or whatever. Ma'am, this is not journalism. This is muckraking. This is gossiping in 4K.
The power of the collective is unstoppable, and you prove that daily. Sending prayers and love from Montana. I hope that is the reality, because I'm telling you, I trust Tennesseans more than I trust the feds right now. And I'm trusting Tennessean men now to keep their eyes and their ears peeled. And I hope that I can be in safe hands that way, because Cash Patel is just not interested. And it is a struggle for me to believe that they didn't know about this French angle in the Charlie Kirk assassination. They did know. Allison Berry writes, no matter the lies or anyone's business saying about you investigating what happened, I want you to know that we, the people, are riding with you.
No, we're not.
All the way through. We know this corruption is multinational. Thank you for what you do. Yes, and I would like to encourage you guys to also get behind the people who are brave, are equally as brave, right? Ryan Matta has been amazing on X. Melissa, I always tell you about Melissa. Mel is Village Crazy Lady. She does really great work. And I keep wrongly branding her. I'm laughing as a Catholic. A couple weeks ago, she's like, I'm not Catholic. I'm like, I am so sorry. I don't know why I thought she was Catholic. I made that up. Hopefully she will be sued. Okay. That's what I will say to that. And she's doing a really great job, particularly focusing on that faith angle, because I do believe that
y'all can have her.
Was the infiltration at Turning Point USA. And it is, by the way, a fact that in recent, in the last year, they even hired former cartel weapons traffickers at Turning Point USA who found God. Okay, so they were trafficking from Poland through to Mexico, weapons and drugs, but then they found God. Unemployment. Like, okay, I don't know what to make of that. Who am I to question somebody saying that they found God? But Arizona is quite a place, and I worry about what happened. And you know, when you get to a certain level in business, they offer you what they say. What is the expression? It's either the silver or the lead. You take the money, or you take the bullet. And I wonder if that was presented to Charlie. I wonder if that's why he was fearful the day before when he messaged people and said, they are going to kill me. Who was he referring to? Do you guys
That's
believe
not true, though.
that it was a gendered person on top of a rooftop? I don't. I certainly don't. Maybe Tim Pool does. Coralia Montalvo writes, may God be with you and your family, Candace. Keep telling the truth.
You know how bad Tim hurt her feelings by how many times she mentions him. Now, again, like he went in on her. Let's just tell the truth, shame the devil. He went in on her, but she keeps talking about Tim. She going to keep bringing up Tim. I bet she going to mention him again.
You have a whole army supporting you. Mm-hmm. And by the way, like this guy proves, there are a lot of incredible men in the military. It is always at the top where corruption happens. And I hope that you take away from this that we are infiltrated as a nation. We have gangs that are controlling a lot, and that we need to make our community smaller. We need to know who people are in our communities. We need to sense that stranger danger, maybe not be so entertained by a foreign accent and wondering more. You know, we need to become our own little CIA units or DCIA units in our own communities and share information. Yeah, I hope
paranoid wackadoodles
here, because we certainly cannot trust the government to take care of us if they didn't take care of Charlie Kirk. And maybe that's it. Maybe people are terrified. Maybe that's what they've known all along, is that the cartels could have been involved in this. And
Cartels are catching
yeah,
strays.
that might be it.
How the
I don't know,
cartels
might be
catching
it. I'm
strays
just
now?
following the facts. Amanda Marias writes, "We love you, lady. I'm so sorry you're going through this. You have a whole..." Oh, I just read that. I'm sorry. Gracie Lou writes, "There is no TPUSA without Charlie. I've never seen such a group of disingenuous groups. The likes of Andrew, Blake, Mikey, Tyler, etc. It's heartbreaking on top of heartbreak. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Continued prayers for you and yours." Thank you so much. Mary Yvette writes, "Candace Security Fund." You know what? I actually said to my husband, like, we need to actually build our own security. We do, from the ground up. Like, we just need to build our own security and know who these people are and know everyone. And because this
Look how
Brian
she
Hartwell
talks.
thing has given me a chill, and this Dan Flood stuff has given me a chill. And maybe we will actually accept that offer and start a fund in the coming days, or, you know, in the coming weeks. I don't know how long it would take to put it together. I will run that to my husband. I actually think that that is a good idea. I think we need to, this thing has really scared me, this French intelligence thing, and the lack of commentary from the White House. This thing is really far reaching.
It scared her so much that she went to Tucker Carlson's Christmas party. She went to Dollywood, and she still, as far as we know, has not contacted the authorities about it. They're supposed to watch her live stream and then move accordingly from her live stream, because she's giving you no evidence that she's actually contacted them, sent anything to them to substantiate what she wants them to do.
The good and the true and the beautiful writes, "Go Max, Candace." Thank you so much. And this person writes, "What do you think Tim Pool's beanie smells like?" That is funny.
Told you, she's going to say Tim again.
I want to know the answer to that question. Lastly, P. Fagliano writes, "Wearing my Candace swag today and getting only nods and smiles, nothing negative. Thank you, Candace, for your courage."
Because you're in your own,
I think
in your
we
basement, my dude.
The normal people who have decided to stay on the side of light, rather than to pledge a gang, we have never been more together. I love it. I love it. I love the left and the right together. And I hate that it had to be Charlie Kirk's assassination that brought us this way, but I'm happy to be here. And I'm not going back to, like, what about the midterm? Shouldn't we just stay united and stand behind and like, you just be quiet? I'm not going back that way, and I hope you guys aren't either. Anyways, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
That is, y'all, I'm going to just tell you right now, we are watching a very, very wicked woman. And I know the Candies are going to be upset about that. Cantifa, we always make room for y'all at the front of the church. But Candace is wicked. The fact that she would read out, I've said it enough. That woman is wicked. There's no other way around it. Yeah, that's pretty gross. What we're seeing right here, and this false narratives that she's spinning and wild yarns that she's whipping up. Man, and let me tell you something. This is a very wicked woman. I don't know another way to say it. I don't. Thank you so much, Cindy. Candy made an X post accusing Tim's brother of pew-pewing at his property. Tim is livid. I'll have to go check that out. Thank you so much for the $10 super. And what do we have here? Thank you so much again. Now 30. Hey, it's me again. I recognize him immediately. He's very well known here. There's a video interviews with him. So what he's talking about and what's being shared here is the gentleman that Candace was saying is an average Joe that works at a company in Tennessee, is this guy. Well, the problem is this dude is in Europe. I mean, is in Russia. This is not the guy that she shared the wrong picture. That's crazy work, man. That is crazy work. I don't even know what to do. Thank you so much, Grim Princess with the 20. I will say it again. Pride comes before the fall, and her fall will be spectacular. That's the problem. The people that are cheering her on now, that hated Charlie Kirk last Tuesday, now they're rocking with Candace Owens right now. When Candace Owens falls, They're going to be right there celebrating her fall just as much as they're celebrating all the shenanigans that Candace is doing right now. Trust me on that. Man, Kelly, thank you so much for the $99 super. Just no question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Thank you so much. Wow. I appreciate you. I'm going to have to make you the stream sponsor. I'm going to definitely tag you in for sure. But let me keep it going. And this is a thought, bro. She's copying Tatum's security idea now. Wicked. Wait, what's Tatum's security idea? Did he say he's gonna build security too? That would be crazy work. Hey, wait, Kelly did again. Shout out to Kelly. Kelly, thank you so much. Wow. You are definitely unequivocally the stream sponsor. And I appreciate that. Man, thank you so much for supporting what we're doing over here. I appreciate it. Thank you, love. Wait. Why wouldn't she use Tatum's free security? Oh, Tatum has security? Like a security company? That's wild. I don't know, but I thank y'all for asking that question. Y'all, thank y'all so much. Y'all make sure we tell Kelly, thank you so much for that. Y'all put Kelly up in this chat and let her know we appreciate her. Thank you so much, Kelly, for supporting what we doing up in here. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to jump off for a minute, grab some dinner at 8 o'clock. I'm going to jump on. I'll still stream over here, but I'm going to be jumping on over to Paramount Tactical as well and see what they're doing over there. Shout out to them. All right, let's keep this going. Phantom says this, how disrespectful of CIA personnel who go overseas protecting this country just to be attacked by by its people really makes me mad. I agree with you 100%. I believe the men and women that put on uniforms and badges to support and protect our country should be given the grace to do their jobs. And I don't know what Candace is doing. Y'all, and like I said, the woman is wicked. Thank you so much, Phantom. Always supporting the channel. Then Amethyst says this, let's all slam YouTube to have her dumped. I don't know, man. I don't know if I don't even think YouTube would get rid of her. Now, well, you know what? I take that back. I don't know. I have no idea. Thank you, Amethyst. I have no idea why she's still able to spin these yarns. But, oh my gosh, I did have a video I want to tell you about. It was actually a Tim Pool video explaining why Candace is gonna lose the Macron case. Okay, you know what? I know I just said I was going to leave. Hold on, let me pull this in because it was super interesting. And I'm nothing if I don't be inconsistent. So I know I just told you I was going to leave. I'm going to pull this in. It's not a lot of profanity, but it's about 20 minutes if I'm not mistaken. But they really explain why they believe Candace will not. Oh, shoot, where is it? Oh, come on, Jason. I got it right here. Sorry. Why they believe that Candace is going to lose in court. It's like 23 minutes. If y'all want it, I'm going to just play it. I thought it was very informative because it say what you want to say about Tim Pool. They have some interesting takes, and I think this one is definitely one that we could glean from. Okay. So let me make sure I got everybody. Thank y'all to everybody. I'm going to go ahead and make Kelly Bags the stream sponsor. While we're doing that, I want to bring this in, and I'll still end the stream and hop back over to Paramount Tactical this evening. But I thought this was interesting. If you've not seen this, I think this might be part of the reason why Candace is so upset with Tim. Let me bring it in. Let's go.
A lot of big news about Candace inside the economics of Candace Owens' media empire and the Macron lawsuit threatening to unravel it. Oh boy, let's talk about nitty-gritty inside stuff because I got information. So they say 5 years ago, Candace Owens was a mid-tier political operative working for Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA. Now she's a globally famous conservative firebrand with one of the fastest-growing independent media platforms in the U.S., raking in cash through controversy. But the same contrarian playbook that launched her solo career now threatens the media empire she built. Her company generates up to $10 million in revenues per year, according to an analysis by Fortune, implying that the company's valuation would be multiples of that. I would actually estimate, it's a broad estimation, but I think 10 million's low. 10 million makes sense if all she is doing is sponsor spots. Mm-hmm. But if she's doing anything else outside of that, so if you want to talk about just her podcast, perhaps.
I guess I'll say this because I said it before, but we do more than that. And, I guess the difference is I do like 5 different shows. So it's more granular where she has one big show. We have a bunch of smaller shows. So maybe, but I think she probably does closer to 20 million or so. But who knows? Revenues are down, although her show seems to be doing very well. They're now talking about this massive lawsuit. The conservative podcaster and provocateur is facing a high-stakes defamation lawsuit filed by French President Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte Macron, the First Lady. The suit is set to test whether the controversy as currency oeuvre that made, is that how you pronounce that? Oeuvre? I have no idea. That made Owens rich and gave her a media brand that reaches tens of millions of people can survive what experts say will be an immensely costly legal battle. The 219-page complaint filed in Delaware Superior Court in July of 2025 accuses Owens of orchestrating a campaign of global humiliation by promoting the conspiracy theory that Brigitte Macron was born male. The plaintiff's weapon of choice, Claire Locke, the firm that has extracted a record-shattering $787.5 million settlement from Fox News on behalf of Dominion, the largest media defamation payout in American history. The Macrons vehemently deny Owens' allegations. Owens has vowed to fight the suit. Interestingly, the suit alleges that spreading false information is essentially Owens' business model. The complaint names 3 defendants: Candace Owens personally, Candace Owens LLC, her Delaware company, and Georgetown Inc., presumably named after her husband, George Farmer, who is directly involved in the business and operates her website and podcast distribution. In naming all 3 parties, the suit takes aim not only at Owens personally, but also her entire known business infrastructure. She won't win. She will not win this. I can't say that I'm psychic or that everything I say is going to come true, but she won't. I will say with, look, I'm willing to make predictions and try and make vague predictions. Maybe at this time something like this would happen, but who knows? I could be wrong. With this, I'll say she will lose for 2 big reasons. Bridget.
Okay, I'm going to stop for a second. I feel like these are some really good reasons why, and I had not thought of them. So y'all pay attention. See what you think.
Macron is not a man. It's not so much whether Bridget Macron is a man or is not. I mean, who knows? Maybe, I guess.
I don't need proof.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't want proof.
I don't want proof.
The issue is, it's kind of a bold, ridiculous, and hard to prove thing that is going to land on defamation per se, which is it is so humiliating and damning. Because it's not just that Bridget Macron is a man, but apparently Candace has also insinuated that it's a pedophilic network or something, or at least that's what people are posting online, saying it's not just about this. There's more here. And apparently there's some reporting that Candace has claimed Bridget Macron may be Emmanuel Macron's dad.
Yeah.
But that makes no sense because Bridget Macron is much smaller. But whatever, I guess. But here's the real reason. When the French government says we're going to your courts, the way the world works is not some rigid contractual letter of the law math. People can consistently fall for this. They believe that, there's a viral clip I watched, or the Thomas Crown affair.
Yeah.
Where Pierce Brosnan signs the contract and then they start busting out laughing like, we got you. And then he gets up and says, now explain to your board why you paid $30 million more than everyone else offered. And they look all shocked. But the thing is, if you ever signed a contract and then as soon as you signed it, the guy started laughing, saying they got you, that contract is not going to be binding. You're not going to go into a court and the judge is going to be like, was there something in the contract you didn't read? And be like, yeah, we absolutely did not agree that I'd sign over power of attorney. The judge is going to be like, okay, contract is out. You it's the stupidest idea. So here's what really matters. When the French government says, we want to stop Candace, I imagine what happens is, Candace has claimed Trump called her and told her maybe you got to back off the story or whatever. Okay. If the Macrons were actually trying to stop Candace, I think the most likely scenario is they call the State Department and they say, this is causing us problems in our country and we don't want these tensions. And the State Department says, what can we do about it? And then all that needs to happen is Emmanuel Macron says, listen, we are telling you to make it stop however you can. And if you don't, there's going to be problems. And France is massive. So it's not like France can control what the United States does. But the U.S. has to negotiate with France, has to cut deals with France, has to work with France and NATO, and they don't want problems. And it's stupid. So likely what I'd imagine happens, the State Department says, file a lawsuit, go through the normal route, and we'll make sure you win. I don't see a reality where Candace goes up against the French government and the U.S. backs her over a NATO ally.
So here's the thing here. Candace Owens is clearly an extremely savvy media operator. She is very charismatic. Some people would even say she's easy on the eyes. She is also a good DEI commentator for right-wingers to put on this sort of pedestal. And, you know, it's really unfortunate that she's really willing to peddle bullshit and rumors and spin up fake narratives to try to get clicks. It's clear to me that she has an axe to grind. I don't think this is just ignorance. I think what she knows, that she knows that she's spreading stuff that is BS, but she believes.
Here, real quick, before he goes any further, what do y'all think about Tim's theory that the U.S. government is going to just like, we'll sacrifice her? What do y'all think? Is that crazy town? Is that crazy work? What do y'all think? Let me see what y'all been saying. Okay, I'm looking real quick. Yeah, we don't claim her for sure. No, absolutely not. Thank you so much, y'all. Okay. You think Tim is totally correct? I think he's right. I don't support her in any of her evil. Okay. Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I think this is. I had not thought of it like that because I did think the Macrons are going to win, but I thought they were going to win for a different reason. But let them finish.
Will get her clicks, and I believe somebody wronged her in the past, and she is trying to like avenge that.
So you think that it's an axe to grind as opposed to just trying to capitalize on what is a hot story?
It's a few. I think it's both, and also this gives her endless amounts of attention. This lawsuit may cost her a lot of money, but her husband is allegedly worth over $200 million. He has a lot of family money, and he's, I believe, allegedly the former CEO of Parler. So, you know, the amount of attention that this is giving her, you know, she knew that this. I don't know if she believes what she's alleging about Bridget Macron, but I think she does know that it'll bring her a ton of attention. It's a transvestigation of obviously, like, you know, a very prominent woman, a prominent European leader's wife.
Do you have evidence that she's a woman? Aloud.
The evidence was that, or the evidence that she was a man was from two French bloggers or something, and they just had a couple of pictures of them, of her looking like a man allegedly. But I think as far as the media savviness goes, though, if you're trying to get your name out there, you want a lot of to put a lot of bullshit out there and then have them get mad at you and sue you because like this is the Streisand effect at hand. And I think there's also something to say about all the other bullshit she peddles because she's been pushing a lot of dumb stuff for a while. She actually said Stalin was Jewish. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Lyndon Johnson.
Something about the Frankists. I mean, there's a long list of random stuff.
Lyndon Johnson was Jewish. Listen.
And then I think she was also a flat earther for a little bit. She's willing to peddle whatever. And then, I'm sorry, one last thing. She'll get like messages or alleged tips and just, I don't know, won't vet them at all. For example, earlier when she said something about like a text message about Andrew Colvin allegedly getting money, it's just like, yeah, somebody texted me this and that's it. Well, somebody could text you anything. Like I have a source that says such and such, but if there's no vetting.
I want her number so I can text her about the ice wall.
Hey, can you text me right now that you think Candace works for Israel so that I can then say on the air, I just received a tip that Candace works for Israel?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. There's no vetting and it's just like some people are dumb enough where the rhetoric, the way she phrases things could come off like to an unmedia savvy person like, oh, this is convincing.
This is basic manipulative rhetoric, social engineering, where you say things so that the other person makes an assumption and then you can't be held liable for it and you always have plausible deniability. That's the game she's playing. That's why everyone keeps pointing out she's making insinuations and then people go, she never said that. No, but she said 80 things where the Sudoku puzzle concludes.
Well, I wish.
Shout out to Sudoku.
People would think about this from the standpoint of, okay, if somebody was saying this about you, would you think to yourself, oh, well, they didn't say me, or would you think, well, they're obviously implying me? And all I want from this, especially because there's a lot of conservatives watching this, is do we still believe in like standards of truth? Do we still believe in like objective standards of truth?
We are in a post-truth society.
Not if it confirms my priors. If it confirms my priors, then it does not matter if it is
at all. This is the point of vagaries. Yeah. If someone believes, 5 untruths, and you come out and say something that is incongruous with their worldview, they reject you. But if you say something very vague, let them fill the dots in, you're correct.
And that's how she builds mass audience, by being correct to everybody, because she's actually not saying anything specific. She's letting people fill in the gaps of what they want to believe. What I do want to say real quick, though, if I were to say Bridget Macron is a hog, okay, I can't be sued by the French government for that. But when you say that Bridget Macron is a man, you're getting into defamation per se territory, where you're accusing someone of some kind of, it's something disgusting and humiliating, which is inherently in and of itself detrimental to you, your life, or whatever. I think she's going to get Alex Jones'd, but I think they're going to come and they're going to take everything from her. I can't understand what she thinks the long-term play is. That's why I don't understand.
Well, her husband's rich. I don't think she's financially secure no matter what happens.
They're married. He's on the hook too. They're going to go for him. His company's named in the lawsuit.
His company's on a lawsuit, right?
Well, presumably they say.
I wonder if the British government would protect him.
Aren't they based in the U.S.?
I don't know, but if he's a lord, if he's somehow involved.
I don't know how how passionate Keir Starmer is about.
Yeah, I don't imagine that he is
about the peerage in the UK.
Wouldn't it be like really funny if just like the UK and France go to war for the first time in like 800 years because Candace called Bridget Macron a man?
I think one of the reasons why this is so important.
Like, yes!
I think the reason why this is so important is because this actually, I think, like driving conspiracies really draws away from people dealing with like legitimate politics that they could have the potential to influence. So instead of learning about your local congressperson or what they're doing in the House and Senate or what's going on in the Supreme Court, no, we're paying attention to whether or not Bridget Macron has a cock or whether or not Charlie Kirk was murdered by Israel. Although they're baselessly, though.
I have a correction too. I should say they start of the first war in 200 years. Sorry, it hasn't been that long. They've actually fought not that long ago. But I to what you were saying, Elad, this is the point about declining viewership and ad rates. Maybe it's fair to say that Candace actually does 10 million because no advertiser really wants to be on a show about Bridget Macron having a dong. Advertisers want to be on normal content. They want to be on sports. Everybody's watching. They're relaxing. Nothing's offensive. It's just fun stuff. And, perhaps when she makes this kind of weird content, she gets more views. She does make more money than the average political commentator, but the CPMs are actually still very low.
The thing that always struck me about this, I remember when Candace first started making these claims, and I was like, okay, look, I remember a time where I watched a lot of things Candace was doing and appreciated her commentary and appreciated her contributions to the conservative movement. If she's very convinced, I just would like to see substantial evidence to back it up. And again, I had really thought that the majority of sympathy in this entire case was going to be for Erica. And what has shocked me is I feel like it isn't. And again, if you're going to imply, if you're going to insinuate that Erica, if she wasn't directly involved, knew something about it, let it go as hiding truth or whatever it is, just please show me something significant to justify that. Because again, I go back to, I think about this from my perspective. If somebody did this to my wife after I was gone, I would be furious unless they could actually produce hard evidence.
The last thing I'll say on this before we go to the next story is she will never be sued by Turning Point. Turning Point USA, oh boy, do they have grounds to sue Candace Owens, but they're not going to.
Yeah.
They're not going to because the law doesn't work to protect you or any meaningful way. Like I've told you before that we had someone commit a crime on our property and then threaten us. They got arrested and charged, and then they threatened to use the legal process through this criminal charge. It almost seemed like it was intentional to exploit it and gain access to private information and other information. And they made the argument that in order for our defense, we need access to private information. And we were like, okay, drop the charges then. We're not going to, we can't.
Yeah.
And so here's what happens. If Turning Point were to sue Candace Owens, there would be depositions and discovery. And they'd be required to turn over certain communications, which I'd imagine are going to be embarrassing and, depending on the context, they can be incriminating over certain issues. I'm not saying in the killing of Charlie Kirk or anything like that, but there's going to be conversations about donors, things that she will then use on her show.
Yeah.
And it will give her a year's worth of content. So they can do nothing about her saying any of this stuff. And she'll just keep saying it. And the fascinating thing is, she's been able to get more than 2 months of content out of saying nothing. No evidence, no real.
Can we distinguish something? Because I hear people all the time, she brings the receipts, she has the evidence. Like, okay.
What?
Well, let's look at what do you consider to be evidence. So if you look at flight logs and you say, these flight logs are interesting. Okay, you could present that as evidence of what?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
that's what I want. I can essentially conjure up just about anything as evidence of something suspicious.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a big difference between I find this to be suggestive or I find this to be interesting versus this proves X. And that's the part that I'm seeing people throw around this word evidence as if it's proof of something that it isn't proof of. It might be interesting if you connect certain dots. It may whatever, but it's not evidence. And I guarantee you, nobody here would want to be convicted in a court of law based off of the evidence that has been presented. You would be furious. You would think it was a huge miscarriage of justice. And yet I'm watching people say, well, see.
I have a question for all the Candace fans out there. It's an honest question. You know, I asked this question a couple times before, but why is it that she has a huge podcast and she's not getting banned? Nick Fuentes got banned on Spotify, not her. She's number one. She's on the front page of YouTube recommendations for everybody who subscribes. She gets millions of views. She gets massive live viewership. I thought it's actually her own words that if you criticize Israel, you'll get suspended, banned, and censored, but not her. Why is it that the person who claims that Charlie was betrayed is actually the one trying to destroy his legacy and the company that he built? Turning Point, Andrew Colvette and Erica and the rest, Tyler Boyer and the rest of them at Turning Point are fighting as hard as they can to keep Turning Point alive. You don't got to like Turning Point. I'm not saying they're good or great. I mean, they were under Charlie. I think they were fantastic as to where they are now. Like, we'll see what happens. Obviously, we're not going to be there. So, it's not like I'm happy with the direction it's going. But she's actively trying to destroy Charlie Kirk's legacy.
Right.
So the question is, who really betrayed Charlie Kirk? Well, because if Charlie were still around, like if Charlie could speak, do you think he'd be like, oh, gee, thanks, Candace. Thank you for telling all the donors to abandon Turning Point USA.
Well, here's my, I'll put it differently. Candace Owens, based off of what she's done here and what she's been, putting out there, Candace Owens, there's only one of two possible options. She is either Charlie Kirk's greatest friend who stood up to everybody when they called her a liar or they called her psycho, that she is either that or she is a horrible betraying villain in this story.
I'm gonna go with that one.
That's maybe so, but you see what I'm saying? That's the point. I'm seeing a lot of people analyze this. It's like, wait a second, no. If you look at the claims that she's made, it's one of the two. It's one of the two.
It really breaks down on one issue, though. I feel like if you have how you feel about one particular issue really prescribes whether or not you think she is a villain or not. I don't even need to say the issue, but you could tell she's laser focused on it, and she'll drag it into to everything else. So it really begs the question, because she used to have a great relationship with the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro, and then that had to fall out for one reason or another. And the same thing with Turning Point. She hasn't been to AmFest for years, as I understand. She hasn't been a speaker or collaborating with Turning Point for years before this happened. You have to wonder, what made that fall through, and maybe something.
Right, but let's just put it like this. I mean, she had what was it? Originally, she was like a liberal and she had a doxing site and she went after conservatives and she got criticized for that. But everybody can change, right? Then she had Red Pill Black and Blexit. She starts working with the Daily Wire and then has a falling out with them. Right. Then while she's been working at Turning Point at the same time, she has a falling out with them. Then I believe it was the end of 23. She stops doing formal events for them, remaining Charlie's friend. My opinion on everything as it went down is that the reason Charlie stayed friends with Candace was diplomacy. It's actually quite simple. Charlie was very intelligent, and he built a coalition, and he brought a bunch of different factions together under one umbrella. So when he's texting with Candace and saying, Ben, oh man, I know exactly how he is, he's trying to stop her from crashing out and causing problems and doing what she's doing now. So Charlie, she's basically removed from Turning Point. She's no longer involved for the most part, but Charlie stays in contact saying, listen, we're friends. Please don't hurt me. Now that Charlie's gone, she's like, I will destroy everything Charlie has ever built. Let me just stress this. There is no excuse. If you like Charlie Kirk and the work that he did, telling everyone to pull their donations is simply to destroy the organization. By all means, you can be angry with Colvette and maybe Erica's leadership, whatever you might think. Maybe you think someone else should come in and run it. But the response should be donors should all email and ask for new leadership, not destroy it and pull all your money out, which burns Charlie's legacy to the ground. I think if there's anyone who betrayed Charlie Kirk, it is Candace Owens, and she has proven it time and time again.
Well, like you said, it would be one thing if you said, here's all the evidence, donors, pull your money. That would be one thing. But I've got a bunch of evidence, I'm going to do it later, but donors, pull all your money right now.
Before I get
for a refund.
It's like, wait a
That's
second.
like the consequences of conservative DEI, and we're reaping what we sowed.
Yeah, but I'll say it again. I mean, Candace is very smart. Yeah. I mean, look, man.
Conniving, but I guess she could be both at the same time.
I'm going to tell a story that's going to get me in trouble. I don't think I told the story before. I'm going to tell a story that's going to get me in trouble. All right, let's get in trouble. I worked.
Okay, this is actually an interesting story, and I will end because I do need to get ready, grab something to eat so I can hop over to Paramount Tactical. This is an interesting story. Let them tease it out.
For Vice, and they were always trying to get this cable channel. I'd gotten some people hired there who were friends of mine who understood social media and live streaming. And I ended up leaving the company, but news broke that Vice had gotten a Rogers telecom deal, or Teleco, whatever the word is. This is a Canadian cable channel. And congratulations to Vice at the time. This is back in like 2014 or something. Wow. And so my buddy hits me up and he's you know, how things are going, you know, because I left the company, and he says, it's great. I'm going to be doing production for the news show on the cable channel. And I went, really? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, really though? I mean, you're not going to stay where you're at working on, you know, like domestic news live stream stuff? And he's like, no, I'm going to be doing the news stuff for the cable channel. I was like, so they're going to move you to Toronto or what? And he goes, why would I move to Toronto? And then I said, for the cable channel. And he goes, why would I move to Toronto? And I said, because it's a Rogers Telecom deal for a cable channel. And he goes, dude, what are you talking about? I said, the cable channel's in Canada. So here's what happened. He told me that Shane Smith, the CEO, held a meeting. They had been having conversations throughout the year that they were working on getting a cable channel, and it was their big dream to get a cable channel. And everyone makes an assumption when you hear that, which is?
What, that he has to move to Canada?
No.
US
When
cable
someone
company.
says, I want to start a cable channel, what do you immediately think?
It's going to be U.S. based.
In America.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks New Zealand. So Shane comes out, and the story I was told that
New Zealand's crazy.
he comes, he's got all the employees there, and he says, we did it. We got our cable channel. Everyone starts cheering and screaming.
Yeah.
They immediately start working on production, all under the assumption that they made that he meant we got our American cable channel. So my friend that I helped get hired is now going like, I didn't know that. And I said, well, you know what's going to happen? If you go to him and say, I don't want to go to Canada, he's going to say, I never said it was in America. That's the manipulative language that you use to keep people in line. You let them believe what they want so they feel good about what's going on. Because if he came out and said, guys, we didn't get the American cable channel. We do have a slow start, though. 30 million households in Canada through Rogers Telecom. People would go, that sucks. Instead, he says, we did it. What does it refer to?
It.
That's the
cable
manipulative
company.
language used by powerful people. This is what Candace does. So when she comes on her show and says, they betrayed Charlie, she's already said it feels like an inside job. So what else could she be insinuating? And then her diehards with fifth grade reading levels are like, I am going to fill the dots whatever I want to be true. So insert whether
Good
it's
catch.
France or Israel or Turning Point or the CIA or the Deep State or Netanyahu himself. It was really funny. I had a guy tell me this over the weekend. I couldn't tell. He looked like he might have been Pakistani or something, but he said the Shapiros killed Charlie. He said Candace is right. He's like, I love her show. The Shapiros did it. And I said, I'm not kidding. I was like, the Shapiros? Yeah. And I was like,
One of Ben's kids, right?
I was like, he didn't mean Ben's family. He meant Ben's extended family.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL.
right.
Make sure to watch the
So
show
shout out
live
to Tim and the Timcast. Man, that was crazy. So I would love for y'all to check them out. Make sure y'all support Tim, and we'll be checking it out. Thank you so much to everybody who's been in the best live chat on the internet. In about 24 minutes, I'm going to be on Paramount Tactical. I'll be streaming here on my channel too, by the way. But I'll be on Paramount Tactical in about 24 minutes, give or take. I do need to eat dinner though. But I want to say thank you so much to the best live chat on the internet. Thank you so much to the mods for keeping everything together. Thank you so much, you all, for the supers. I'm glad that you all found value in what we're doing over here. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it. I will see y'all in a moment. If you don't mind, please make sure you tip your waiters on the way out the door. Green hearts, all that kind of good jazz. I'm going to see y'all in a few minutes after I scarf down some dinner. So everybody, I'll see you real soon. Grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.